have their sights set on the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that has struggled mightily this season. But head coach Dick LeBeau has instilled a new attitude. Will the Bengals turn their season around today against the Broncos? We'll find out next on CBS. And welcome to Paul Brown Stadium, where today the rising Broncos meet the winless Bengals. The Bengals, though, are in ill humor for this game.
But we come, best believe that. Boot up and shut up.
A great day in Cincinnati for this matchup between the Bengals, who are ready to kick off. There is Neil Rackers, a rookie kicker, and the deep man for the Broncos is also a first-year player, their #1 draft choice out of Cal Berkeley, Delta O'Neal, already one of the high-regarded kick returners in the NFL.
He's got blazing speed and has had a very good year thus far in his rookie season. They're very high on him.
Line drive kick, and the ball is picked up. It goes into the end zone, and in his wisdom, Delta O'Neal downs the ball for a touchback, and so the Broncos will go on offense. First down and 10, and there is Brian Griese in his 3rd year from Michigan with sensational numbers so far this season. Look at his touchdown to interception ratio, projecting out over a 16-game season to 32 TDs and 2 interceptions, which would be the best ratio, if he does it, in NFL history.
Yeah, he's doing a lot to make people forget about the guy that he supplanted as quarterback. This Denver offense has really come to life in the last few weeks.
Takes some doing to have him forget Elway, but he's following in his footsteps admirably at this point. And here is a throw in the flat. Ball is caught. The tight end Desmond Clark takes it, and a good hit put on by the Bengals. As we look now at the rest of the Denver Broncos offense, high power across the offensive front. Tony Jones, Lenny Friedman starting for the injured Mark Schlereth, Nalen at center, Dan Neal and Matt Lepsis, Anderson and Smith the starting runners, Rod Smith and Ed McCaffrey the wideouts, and Dwayne Carswell at tight end. The multiple formation offense of Shanahan and the Broncos, so tough to stop. It put up 44 points on the Browns last week. Throw over the middle, caught by McCaffrey, and he's ahead for a first down. They love that drag pattern, Steve, underneath.
Yeah, it's so effective because they're so effective at running down the football field, clear the defense out, and hit the short route behind it.
Now as we look at the Cincinnati Bengals, Vaughn Booker, Oliver Gibson, John Copeland moving to tackle from end, and Michael Bankston across the front. Linebackers, Foley, a rookie, Spearman, and the best linebacker, maybe the best player on the Bengals team, Takeo Spikes. Carter, Williams, Chris Carter, and Rodney Heath. The D-backs. Handoff right up the middle, and running hard and very well is Mike Anderson. Having such a terrific year, the 27-year-old rookie, the ex-Marine, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. His first carry of this day is good, Steve, for 15 yards.
Yeah, that helps the average. You know, Mike Shanahan is a great head coach who's got a great system. And when you know that's the case, it's just like other systems you've seen. When one guy goes down, he picks the right guys to back them up because he sends backups in that are prepared to play.
If the defense has a weakness, the Broncos will jump all over it. Another handoff. Again, it's Anderson at 6 feet 230 out of Utah. Out of high school, he went in the Marine Corps, as all the Bronco fans know, for 4 years. There is the new head coach, Dick LeBeau, who's now trying to instill in his team a little bit of comeback, because they were shut out last week, and 3 of their last 6 games this season, they've been shut out.
Yeah, he's just trying to tell his team, just put one play behind the other, one snap at a time, and we'll try and string enough together to give ourselves a chance to win a football game.
0-6, 7-1-1 yet in the new millennium. Griese, good play fake. Now he's in trouble, and Griese's on the run. He's inside the 45-yard line, and he slides to a halt with a first down run, a gain of 8 yards on the play.
That's one of the things Brian Griese has learned this year. He doesn't force bad passes. Good coverage by the Bengals down the field. The play action obviously is going to work when their running game has been so effective over the last 2 weeks. And Griese just finds a spot. And all the great ones, they use their wheels when they have to use it. not to win the game, but to just move the chains and give them an opportunity for 3 more chances in those wide receivers.
Well, they've now moved the ball down to the 42-yard line of the Bengals on this opening drive. Another good play fake. Griese takes a look. People are covered, so he's got to head downfield, and he dives down to the 35-yard line, a gain of 7 yards on the play. Brian Griese told us yesterday they really want to jump on the Bengals early.
And this is what he's up against, trying to replace John Elway. And you've seen the last 2 plays, Brian Griese running the football. That's what John Elway was so good at, running the football and then heaving it down the field. Brian Griese has done it great. He has really come through for this offense, made all the throws he should have thrown. And this is a guy who has emerged out of the shadow of a legend and done it in fine style. This guy is having a great year.
3rd highest rated passer in the NFL. Handoff, and again a slashing run by Mike Anderson as he takes the ball down to the 31-yard line. The big problem with the Bengals is when adversity strikes, and it always does a bad team, they have a real problem coming back from it.
And that's what the Broncos are thinking about. They want to come out and have a sustained, solid drive that hits the Bengals right in the mouth and lets them know right off the bat that it's going to be a long afternoon. The Broncos right now with this first drive are trying to get the Bengals to quit and think it's going to be another loss. Now you see Mike Anderson there. This is a guy that stepped in, and he has played outstandingly.
Surely has. Said he expected to be the 3rd guy all season. Here he is, the starter. Changes fast. Here's a quick out. Rod Smith extends over the 25-yard line of Cincinnati and down to the 24 for a gain of 7 yards on the play.
Mr. Q Spikes, the player on the Cincinnati Bengals defense that has got the unenviable job to stop an offense that not only is solid but is hot. And Mike Anderson, you know, it's funny, he got the job. He came in Wednesday, and there was 2 guys ahead of him on Sunday. It was Terrell Davis and Orlandis Gary, and they come in and say, oh, by the way, you're next. Yeah. You got the job this week.
And he's carried the torch well, and now the standard bearer running back. Handoff. Again, they go to the rookie runner, and Mike Anderson is inside the 20-yard line for a Bronco first down, a gain of 6. This offensive line of the Denver Broncos is a blocking masterpiece. They're undersized by NFL standards. Man, what angles they get on their blocks, though.
One of the things that makes them so effective is because they're undersized, they are better at getting off the defensive linemen up into the secondary and getting on linebackers and secondary people. They have the athleticism to make the first block and then move up deeper in downfield to make blocks for the running back past the line of scrimmage.
And this is the 10th play of the drive. Again, they gash a big hole in the Bengal defense, and Mike Anderson, both arms on the ball, takes it ahead for 8 yards. Tackle on the play by Darrell Williams.
Watch how the offensive line pops out. You'll see them all come off the ball, and then they'll move up into the secondary level there. This linebacker gets picked up as Armigas Spearman gets picked up by the offensive guard. The linemen are so athletic, they can move from one block to the next very effectively.
And you see Anderson's number, 5 carries, averaging 7 yards a carry. Here's some more as he's inside the 5-yard line and down to the 1 as the Broncos make it look easy. A 9-yard gain on the play. You really wonder when you watch the Broncos the last 3 weeks how they ever lost any games this year.
Well, let's face it, they were playing the San Diego Chargers and the Cleveland Browns, not 2 very strong opponents, but in regard to that, they beat them decisively, exactly how you expect a playoff team to play against teams that are struggling. This Denver team has no let-up in it, and Dick LeBeau knows it. He wants a timeout.
With 1st and goal at the 1-yard line, he's going to try to regroup here as the Broncos just pounding the Bengal defense on this opening drive. Back to Cincinnati, where the Broncos have a point-blank range. 1st and goal on this opening drive. Griese takes a look. He throws, open man, and the ball is caught for a touchdown. Are they going to signal it?
Yes.
They are. They finally give it to Detron Smith, starting at the fullback for the injured Howard Griffith, who's expected to be back soon. So Brian Griese now extends his personal numbers to 15 touchdown passes versus that 1 interception earlier this season.
Detron Smith's a guy after my own heart. He's a special teams guy. Actually went to the Pro Bowl last year and finally gets a chance to catch a touchdown. Watch here as he catches it once, twice, and pulls it in. What a great catch in the end zone. Brian Griese. The referees took their time about calling it, but it was a touchdown.
An absolute lesson in football, NFL style, a 12-play drive. Griese to Detron Smith on the payoff end, and the Broncos come out of the gate quickly. They go up 7-0, and they'll kick it off when we come back to Cincinnati.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. Budweiser, with a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. And by Saturn, now with 2 distinctively different car lines, the L Series and the S Series.
And welcome back to Cincinnati. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker with Bengals, and there's number 42. Have just given up an 80-yard drive. The final play, a 12th play of a drive, was a 1-yard touchdown pass from Griese to Smith. Now the subsequent kickoff to a very good kick returner, Tremaine Mack. He breaks it and is finally down to the 34-yard line. He is an excellent kickoff returner, a 23-yard return. So the Bengals' first possession will give them fairly good field position to start. Now the Bengals go on offense, first down and 10. This is a team that's been shut out 3 times in their 6 games this season. The only points they've scored 37 total points all at home. They haven't scored yet on the road. Hand up, running hard with the ball is Corey Dillon, and he's knocked down at the line of scrimmage as Bill Romanowski comes up and gets him for no gain.
Already talking. This is Bill Romanowski. He had a little something to say to Corey Dillon, but yeah, that'll be going all afternoon.
Akili Smith, one of the high draft choices a year ago in that quarterback class of '99. Book on him, strong arm, can run. Still not comfortable attacking NFL defenses. Very strong arm, though. You'll see it here. Smith takes a look. He's got room to run, a lot of room to run, as he breaks it across the 40 and turns it up and out of the 45. A gain on the play of 11 yards and a first down.
That's one of the things about Akili Smith, as you see here. Not very many of his percentage of his passing is completed. 44% is not very good, but he has the ability to make things happen.
So we look now at the rest of the Bengals on offense. John Jackson, O'Dwyer, Gutierrez, Goff, and Willie Anderson across the offensive front. A very big line. Dillon, a good runner, been a 1,000-yard rusher for 3 straight years prior to this. Gross is his fullback. And the wide receivers, Peter Warrick and Craig Yeast. Warrick, the rookie out of Florida State, who led the Seminoles to a national championship last season. Dillon hit and stopped, and then he finds room. He gashes the defense. Look at this. This could go the distance as Corey Dillon's all the way down to the 21-yard line, and a penalty marker's fired in. A 34-yard gain on the play.
And it's going to come back with a hold after he broke the line of scrimmage. But that's Corey Dillon. That's what he does, and unfortunately that's what he's had to do the entire year. He got snapped off in the backfield, got hit in the face, shrugged off the blocker.
89 offense. 10-yard penalty.
Marco Battaglia, the tight end, one of the tight ends, is called for the hold. So as has been the case so much this season, Steve, something good is blown up by a mistake.
Yeah, they take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. But they came out with 3 tight ends in the football game, a total run formation, and the Broncos stepped up to the plate and really hit Corey Dillon right in the backfield. But because he's such a good back, and that's really the reason he's their main weapon, he shook off the tackler and made something good out of nothing.
Broncos so dangerous with 14 interceptions on defense this year and 25 sacks. Great speed in their defensive front 4. Here comes the rush. Akili Smith takes a look again. He finds room, and a tackle is made. Beautifully done by Maha to Navasa. And Navasa saving what could have been a major gain.
Well, this defense is built around movement, as you'll see here.
And Navasa, Traylor, Price, and Kavika Pittman across the defensive front. Mobley, Wilson, and Romanowski back the line.
All great athletes in the front 7 there.
And in the secondary, Crockett, Brown, Jenkins, and Buckley. 2nd down and 9. Looking for room to go, but there's only room to lose ground as Bill Romanowski comes up and makes the stop on Brandon Bennett. A loss of 4 yards on the play, and that sets the Bengals back now to the 41-yard line of Denver.
Well, we spoke to Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator, for the Broncos. And he said this team, this defense of the Broncos is built around movement. They've got great athletes. They are a little undersized on their defensive line, but they can all run. They have guys that can go sideline to sideline, even up front. And there you see Greg Robinson there, the mastermind of this defense that has really played much, much better in the last month.
Really one of the top defensive coordinators in the NFL, Greg Robinson, as Akili Smith drops and lofts the ball downfield. It's tipped and almost intercepted, is it? Might be a review if they give him a pick. Did the ball hit the ground will be the case.
They did give it to him.
They give it to him. I think the Bengals are going to want to take a look.
He tipped it to himself. What a fantastic play. Al Wilson coming back in. Drafted #1 last year. And you talked to Greg Robinson, who we just spoke about. He said this guy's just finding out how to drop into pass coverage. He's really finally starting to click for him. Watch this great athletic play. That's why you draft guys #1 right there. That is the reason.
We'll be back in a moment.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better. And by Replay TV. Some televisions have all the fun.
The officials have ruled that Al Wilson, middle linebacker for the Denver Broncos, just intercepted a tip ball. He tipped it, so we might have a review. We're going to have one.
Yeah, Dick LeBeau waved the red flag, and the referee. Now watch. As Al Wilson tips this, he'll tip it to himself. Now the question is, it's not if the ball hits the ground, but if he's got control of it when it does. Now watch, the ball is covered, he's got control, but it pops out right there. They may reverse this under review.
We said that at the outset. It looked like it bounced, but we'll see.
He tips this to himself, and it's not a question of whether it hits the ground, it's a whether he has control of it when it does, and whether he can keep control and finish the play. And it might, right there, it looks like he might have pinned it against the ground and then scooped it up. Yep.
The question is, did he have control when he came down with it? If he has control of the ball and it hits the ground, he still has possession.
I think they're going to disallow this. See how it looks like he traps it against the ground. See there, it popped out. I think this may go back to Cincinnati.
Jeff Triplett is our referee. Lots of good looks here. Well, there's a great look.
Yeah, you see there the ball hits the ground. He lands on top of it.
He have his hand
as
under
he rolled over it, we know that it wasn't quite controlled. So he didn't have control of the ball, which is why this should go back to Cincinnati. But I'll tell you what, that was a fantastic effort on his part. And he sold the catch, too, which is what they always tell you.
Well, if he gets the interception, it'll be the 3rd interception of the season from middle linebacker. That's a great season for most guys.
Well, this
backer position.
Yeah, this Denver team has got a lot of interceptions this year. It's been one of the keys to their success and one of the keys to their resurgence. 3 picks last week. They just played sensational.
It would be the Broncos' 21st takeaway this year. They came in with a +14 on takeaways, second in the NFL to the Ravens of Baltimore, who are +15.
You know, one of the things about these teams, Don, you get an offense like the Denver Broncos have that's clicking, that things are going well, and then you get a defense that's opportunistic and gives them even more chances. Man, that's a tough combination to beat.
Here's Jeff Triplett now.
After reviewing the play, the pass hit the ground and was not controlled. It is an incomplete.
Okay, so great effort by Al Wilson, but no interception. Bengals keep the ball. The way to attack the Broncos defense is throwing. They're 25th against the pass. But they're real good against the run. They're #2 in the NFL against runs.
And we all saw it together, and although
that's the look.
He lands on it, rolls over, and you know he doesn't have control when he comes up from the other angle that we saw.
And that brings up 4th down. So the Broncos are going to get the ball back anyway. We'll see if they're able to pin him back with his punt attempt. Delta O'Neal is back for the Broncos at his 10-yard line. Daniel Pope is the punter for Cincinnati, averaging just 33 yards a punt net. Well hit, going to carry down close to the goal line, and there is a guy right down there to down the ball. Well done. There's also a penalty marker down. The guy who came down and caught that 37-yard punt, downed it by catching it, was Robert Bean, a rookie defensive back.
Yeah, the Bengals are not letting the Broncos push them around at all. They're standing up to them. There's been a couple of scuffles, little shoving matches. The Bengals know their backs are against the wall, and they're sick to death of losing. but they know they've got to stay close in these games. They do not have the ability to come back.
It's been a decade of losing here in Cincinnati. Personal foul.
Now we'll see if it's post-possession, and if it is, they'll remain down at the other end of the kick. They don't like to make them punt twice. They'd much rather give the offense and defense a chance to take the field.
I know you had a great aversion to covering 2 punts in a row.
That's exactly right. If I ever had to cover 2 punts in a row, I told my punter, no matter what else happens, you kick it out of bounds because I'm too tired to tackle anybody.
Just had one in you. So Coach Shanahan, his team with a beautiful opening drive, a 12-play, 80-yard drive. Griese throwing a 1-yard touchdown pass to open the scoring to fullback Detron Smith. But
they never took a play that was of no gain or for a loss on that whole drive, a 12-play drive. You'll see right there is where they're talking about the personal foul. You see there, oh, there's a big right cross there as they moved out of the picture. And now they're going to have to punt it again.
Well, a special teamer's worst nightmare is realized now. A second time they have to cover the punt.
A lot of times what will happen is
During the kick, personal foul, 82, Cincinnati. During continuing action, unsportsmanlike, swinging and missing at an opponent. Correction, on Cincinnati, personal foul on Denver. By rule, those penalties will offset and replay.
Well, they're going to replay that down. What happens is if you have to, as you see here, Dick LeBeau will react to that call. He's not very happy about it. But long returns invariably are given up when a team has to kick twice because the coverage team is so tired, they're not as effective.
All right, here is a second punt try now by Pope. He's standing at his 44-yard line, hits the ball at the 49, hits it very high. Neal's going to let it bounce, and it caroms out of bounds, or it's going to be down inside the 10-yard line where it goes out. And so 31-yard punt. And again, the Broncos will take over the ball, the long field to go, but that was no problem the first possession. We're back to Paul Brown Stadium, the man who started the Browns back in Cleveland so many years ago. The Hall of Fame coach and subsequently the founder and owner of the Cincinnati Bengals. A man who said coaching is teaching. If you can't teach, you can't coach. Markers in all over, as this has not been a thing of beauty in the last 5 minutes. Sloppy play on both sides after a perfect opening drive by the Broncos to take a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, we've been sitting around for 5 minutes and have seen 2 plays.
Encroachment, defense, number 99, 5-yard penalty, remained first down.
Oliver Gibson, the emotional leader, was the guy who jumped in. Log on to NFL.com and read about the NFL's all-time sack masters. It's only on NFL.com.
If that first drive was any indication, the Denver Broncos are going to go lengthofthefield.com.
That's right. Griese has hit 4 passes and 4 tries on the first drive for only 20 total yards. He ran well, but they just ripped open the Bengal defense with their running game. To the run again, and right up the middle, Mike Anderson, who so wisely protects the ball and takes it to the 20 for a first down. And now we get a chance to go to New York into Jim Nance. Jim?
All right. Listen here, New England and Indianapolis, and the Patriots scored first on a pass to J.R. Redmond, but right back comes Manning. He finds Marvin Harrison, 51 yards, 7-7. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
See, just over 4 minutes to go in the first quarter here as the Broncos now have a first down at their 20-yard line. Ryan Griese alertly looks, tip ball could be picked. And it's incomplete, and a penalty marker was fired in. Oliver Gibson, a defensive lineman, looked like he was the guy that got a tip on the ball. They were shooting at Rod Smith, trying to get the ball to him.
Yeah, they're going to call defensive holding in the backfield, but this ball was tipped to the line of scrimmage. It may stop this from being a penalty because when the ball is tipped, everything's off.
Holding.
You see there.
Defense, number 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, Rod Smith made a great effort there as the ball was tipped. His only option was to make sure they did not catch the football and it wasn't intercepted. He's batted that away from 2 defensive backs after the great play by the defensive lineman for the Bengals.
First down and 10. Griese with a rollout, buying time, long ball. Man, he's still got it. Look at Rod Smith. He can't quite get to it. So Griese, bad shoulder and all, just launched one about 60 yards.
And so much for his shoulder injury.
Rod Smith had the defense beaten, number 80, who has 46 catches coming into the game, 6 of them for touchdowns.
And you think with Brian Griese having a little bit of a sore shoulder, especially when he airs it out, that you'd think it'd be tough for him to out-throw somebody, but he's still got enough even for Rod Smith not to be able to catch up to that. But he was open, and you can bet they're going to go back to that later in the ball game.
See what they do now on second down and 10 to the run. Anderson. And he takes it ahead over the 30 to the 33-yard line. A gain of 7 on the play. Cornerback Tom Carter got him down.
You talk about this offense, and one of the guys that gets forgotten, especially in the last few years, is Rod Smith. I mean, he's a guy who's played extremely well for this club. And when you're sitting behind Terrell Davis and Brian Griese, and even early in his career, John Elway, this is a guy that kind of got lost in the spotlight. But this is a guy that has been at the top of his game for a few years now.
He has now in his 6th year, a complete free agent out of Missouri Southern. Just played so great in camp and in the practice squad. They gave him his shot, and now Griese off target on a 3rd down and short throw. 3rd down and less than 3. And so this time the Broncos are stopped on offense, and they'll punt the ball for the first time today.
And as this offense walks off, Rod Smith was open coming across, and the Bengals defense will feel good about making the punt, but the Broncos are going to think, you know what, we missed a couple of opportunities. The overthrow to Griese and Rod Smith, and also that pass there had an opportunity to be caught for the first down. They just couldn't get that opportunity to come through for them.
And I think, Steve, that's kind of a good news, bad news situation for the Bengals. They missed the opportunities, but you get the feeling they're going to be there all day. Attacking the Bengal defense. Ruin, the punter, steps in, boots it high. Coming up on the ball is Craig Yeast. He fair catches the ball for the Bengals at his 29-yard line. And from there, the Bengals will go on offense 1st and 10. Next Saturday on the Home Depot College Football, Heisman hopeful Michael Vick ignites Virginia Tech against the Pitt Panthers, or the Georgia Bulldogs take on the Florida Gators in an SEC shootout. It all starts with Volkswagen College Football today.
Nothing quite like college football right now. Right there, Dick LeBeau trying to rally the troops.
I'll take NFL. College is good. NFL is great. Best players in the world, and here's one of them, Corey Dillon, as he just breaks open the defense of the Broncos and takes it all the way down to the 40-yard line. A 31-yard gain. You remember that earlier run of his for 35 that was partially negated by the hold.
That's the thing we've seen from Corey Dillon. He'll run the ball 8 times for 6 yards, and then he'll pop a big one. He's so big, once he gets into the open field, you see there, he just shrugs off the tackle of Keith Traylor and just gets going. The defensive backs, all they can do is kind of push him out of bounds. He is a big back that can really run.
Yeah, he's big and he's fast, and they talk about his great balance. And now here's an end around. This is Peter Warrick. And the well-schooled defense of the Broncos is waiting for him. He ran this same play a week ago against the Steelers for a 49-yard gain, but 304-pound Keith Traylor wasn't fooled.
Well, that's the thing about a good defense. You're not going to fool them. When they come around in reverse, there's 2 guys standing there waiting for it. They anticipate it. They played very disciplined. Didn't lunge at Warrick. They just let him pick his spot and then drug him down as he tried to get through the line of scrimmage. So disciplined. A disciplined defense is impossible to beat.
Greg Robinson said our defense is all about speed and movement, not about size. They're probably giving away about 50 pounds a man to the offensive front. Here's another tip ball. It's an undersized defense on the front line as the NFL defense is going. Cincinnati has a huge offensive line, but speed kills. Coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report, join Jim, Mike, and Jerry for all the scores and highlights, plus all the latest NFL news. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. So we're winding down now to 1:41 to play in the first quarter. Broncos scoring on a 12-play, 80-yard opening drive. Touchdown pass from a yard out. Kelly Smith takes a look, lobs the ball downfield, and it's taken in by his tight end, Tony McGee. And he is down on a 23-yard gain, taken down by strong safety Billy Jenkins. But it's a first down for the Bengals.
This has been one of the things that has changed since Kenny Anderson began calling the plays for the Bengals. The tight ends have begun to get more so involved in the offense, getting more catches than they did early in the year. You see there Tony McGee working against Bill Romanowski. This is just a great catch. What a good throw right over the top of Romanowski's helmet.
Kelly Smith takes a look. Looking to fire. Very mobile. He throws hard and incomplete. Good coverage by the Broncos. He was shooting at Peter Warrick, who comes in as the leading receiver for the Bengals with 20 catches, 1 for a touchdown. There he is, Peter Warrick. Fabulous player.
Yeah, you talk about one of the things that goes wrong when you're 0-6, and one of the things that you need to do is when your quarterback like Akili Smith spends a lot of time running, your receivers have to get used to getting open when he's in trouble. The Bengal receivers, including Warrick, have not been able to give Akili Smith an outlet when he's been in trouble.
And Jimmy Smith hurt the cause of the Bengal passing game as he was matching up with Warrick. Push for push. Here's a handoff to Dillon. 2nd and 10. He's shut down after a short gain. Maybe a couple of yards. Harold Hasselbeck gets him down.
This is when the field changes as the offense, as the Bengals come down, get to the 16-yard line. There's just no room to run the defenders off. The Broncos playing that disciplined style of defense that they do with all those athletes, you just can't outrun them to the sidelines.
Bengals really want to get it in the end zone, too. They have not a very strong kicking game. They have a rookie kicker from Illinois who is 3 for 8 for the season, has hit none over 40 yards. Kelly Smith cocks the arm, fires a strike. And the ball is taken in by Peter Warrick down at the 6-yard line. A 9-yard gain on the play. It looks like he's got a first down.
And this is what they need to do, get Peter Warrick the ball. He's a great athlete, and that was a great catch he made. The ball was already past him when he actually caught the ball, and Akili Smith delivered the ball at the end of the first quarter.
And that'll do it for the completion of the first quarter with the Broncos leading the Bengals 7-0. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Welcome back to Paul Brown Stadium. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. The Bengals down 7-0, and now Mike Shanahan's Broncos defense being challenged as the Bengals, winless this season, have the ball first down and goal at the 7-yard line.
When you're a good football team playing a team that's struggling, the one thing you don't want to let them do is hang around. Let them think they're better than you think they are. Treat them like an 0-6 team. Get them down early and let them fold up their tent and go home. But this is a situation that Denver didn't want. They don't want Cincinnati hanging around with a chance to win it in the fourth quarter, because then anything can happen.
That's what they want to do, be around in the fourth quarter. In so many games, they've been out of it early, although they have led. Miami and Tennessee, 2 top teams at halftime this season, have the Bengals. Watch the blitz now. Kelly Smith takes a look, gets some time, makes a throw, incomplete, off target, and a fight breaks out, and as quickly the 2 combatants are separated. One losing his helmet, Matt O'Dwyer.
A former Northwestern guy throwing his helmet off there. Hey.
One of your guys,
Looks bad for the old alma mater there. When you well, you'll watch here, right, and you'll see there's still one. There you see the helmet just pops off there. Keep trailing. You kind of quit fighting when your helmet comes off.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you want to put the mitts down.
2nd and goal, a handoff, running with the ball, and look at the Bronco defense attack the runner. Corey Dillon looked to go right, and so much quickness. And again, the 13-year veteran, Bill Romanowski, is through to make the hit, and looks like there's a personal foul signal now against the Broncos, which will give a first down to the Bengals. So the Broncos, who rarely do, lose their composure.
The Broncos have been penalized quite a bit this year. And
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. 53, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
You can tell what he thinks of that call. And this is the penalties we just spoke about. 39 penalties for 359 yards. They had 2 TDs called back, which are real killers, but, you know, and they've already had a couple of personal fouls already in this game, and that's just, you know, some of that is a little bit of exuberance, a little enthusiasm, and some of it's just lack of discipline.
The Bengals now have gone 26 straight possessions, 26 in a row without a score. They sure have a good chance now. First and goal at the 4-yard line. It's going to go to 28, Corey Dillon. That's Dillon. And another big hit. Big play by Eric Brown, the free safety. Guy's overcome some injury problems.
Now, this guy came in as a high draft pick, and he's been in the mix ever since he got to Denver. He's been on the field whenever they had a chance. You see their plays right through the block of the fullback, Cliff Gross. That's tough for a safety to do. That's what they're not supposed to be able to do.
And if he has to go up after the ball, Eric can do that also. Eric Brown was a 7-foot high jumper in high school out of Mississippi State. Second-round pick in '98. Dillon trying to go wide, and a block tackle knocks him out of bounds. Al Wilson gets him out of bounds to make it 3rd and goal. No gain.
And Al Wilson, the guy who missed the interception just a few minutes ago, still on the field, especially in goal line. And as we've seen, the Bengals have tried to go off tackle. They tried to give Corey Dillon a chance to use his speed to the outside, but this Bronco defense is just too fast between the sidelines.
Greg Robinson's defense, which held the Browns to just 10 points in a 44-10 rout a week ago, digs in. 3rd and goal at the 7. It was 1st and goal at the 4. Hilly Smith ready to throw. He's going to run it. He's in trouble, and he's out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Nobody to go to. And a lot of boos are heard now from the Bengal following. A big crowd here to follow this 0-6 team as Neil Rackers comes out to try a field goal.
You see this, they try the misdirection to get the Broncos running the opposite direction. It just doesn't work. The discipline is just too great. You see there Mike Shanahan, yeah, he knows they got him. Forced the field goal.
John Mobley's the guy that got him, knocked him out of bounds, and now here is the rookie kicker Neil Rackers ready to try a 22-yard field goal. See where they're going to spot the ball. Looks closer to 24. He's only 3 of 8, all of them short ones. He kicks this one up, and he drives it through. And so the Bengals have now scored just 40 points for an entire season, almost 6.5 games. The Bengals are on the board on a short field goal by Rackers. It's now a 7-3 game at Denver, and the Broncos will get the ball back. Terrell Davis still sidelined with that ailing left ankle, although he is expected to be back after the bye week.
You think the bye week, they had San Diego, Cleveland, and now Cincinnati. They've had a bye month.
Some tough ones coming up, though. Here's a return by Delta O'Neal. With a lot of speed, he turns it up and out, and he gets to the 27-yard line. So the Bengals certainly playing hard, if not well. Friday on CBS. If you think you already know the fugitive, you ain't seen nothing yet. Tim Daly stars in an all-new episode of the new hit drama, The Fugitive. Friday at 8, 7 Central, here on CBS. Eddie George, the report on him, the great runner for the Tennessee Titans, out of the game at Baltimore with a strained right knee. He's out for the game. Now, with all those formations and alignments, see who is errant here as markers fly all over.
False start.
False start on the
62
Broncos.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
I think he said 62. Dan Neal's the right guard.
Yeah, the Broncos pop out of the huddle, and they have a very strange formation. Everybody's to the right of the quarterback.
It was Dan Neal.
It looked like they were going to try and quick snap it before the defense could adjust to that strange formation. And they just started a little too quickly.
Look here, Steve, as the Bengals really jam their defensive front, looking to stop the run. And Griese sees that, makes a throw, incomplete. Tight end was swinging out. Ed McCaffrey was running an in pattern, and it was between both of them. And that brings up 2nd down and 15 for the Broncos.
Griese, that's been one of the things that has made him so successful this year. He just completes a lot of balls, even the short ones. And once in a while, he hits you for the big one. But when you put the ball in the hands of the guys that are running the routes, your offense is going to be successful.
And Griese, who hit his first 4 passes in the opening drives, now has missed his last 3. Handoff. Turning up. Mike Anderson, and he is taken down on good defense by the Bengals. Vaughn Booker back in the lineup. He's missed 3 weeks. After an unexplained fainting spell, they sent him to every specialist, most of them in this area, and then out to the Mayo Clinic. They could find nothing wrong, so he's back and in good health, fortunately.
Well, when you're 0-6, you need a guy, you need everybody healthy, and Vaughn Booker has disappeared for a while, and they did miss him. There's no question about it. He's a big guy, obviously, and he's a guy that was probably their best defensive lineman before he had his physical problems.
Now the pressure is on the Bengal defense as the Broncos are loaded with big plays. They have a 3rd down and long coming up. Let's see what they go to. Griese, who's been sacked 13 times, takes a look, makes a throw, almost intercepted. It would have been run back probably for a touchdown, as Griese is unable to get the ball into Rod Smith. And Tremaine Mack, who's in as an extra defensive back, drops the ball.
Griese buys himself a little time, and watch here. You see Rod Smith come up, and Tremaine Mack just breaks on the football. You wonder why he can't catch it. This is the guy that returns kicks for the Bengals, can catch punts and kickoffs. He should have the best hands on the football field, but yet not used to catching it at a line drive. I guess he needs it to drop out of the sky before he can get his hands on it.
But the Broncos have to give it up on a punt. Ball hit by Ruin downfield to Craig Yeast. And the ball is down by the Broncos at the 43-yard line as they start up after the whistle. Again, there's going to be a fight in this game. Bet on it. 32-yard punt and no return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Chrysler. We're reinventing the passion for driving. Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular today. And by Wendy's Bacon Mushroom Melt. When you gotta have one, you gotta have one.
Dick LeBeau drawing some stuff up for his defense.
Well, Paul Brown, who this stadium is named after, said if you can't coach, you can't teach, you can't coach. Well, he can teach.
Right now, it's his offense who's out there. Keely Smith gets some time and fires the ball. Keely, on some of the local talk shows this week, made some complaints about his receivers. I don't know if that's the best way to build a winner.
No, it's not, but they are improving, and Dick LeBeau's got them on the right track.
He's got to improve. He's only hit 44% of his passes, Keely Smith. Had a quarterback rating coming into this game of 53. Those are dire and losing numbers for a QB.
He's only 2 for 7 for 34 yards thus far.
But always a threat to run. Corey Dillon again breaks open the Bronco defense and fumbles the ball. It's picked up, and with the ball is Eric Brown. Boy, there's the Bengal season microcosm. Something good happens, something worse happens.
Yeah.
The best of times and the worst of times.
You're exactly right. Corey Dillon makes another great run, coughs the football up, and then that insult to injury, Bill Romanowski lays a nice little lick on him right around the pile.
We'll be back to Cincinnati in a moment. Corey Dillon just ripping off a beautiful run, a 21-yarder. Then he coughed the ball up. I think it was Romanowski that hit him, Steve.
Yeah, he caused the fumble.
Griese with a good play fake, throws near side, and there's a penalty marker down in the Broncos backfield. Could it be a holding call? Holding call it is against Denver. So their offense, after coming out and just tearing up the Bengals, now stuttering.
Yeah, and the Bengals, this is Corey Dillon at the end of the play. Watch here's Romanowski coming up behind him, hustling.
Offense, 66. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
And watch here's, they pick it up. Eric Brown picks it up, starts to make something happen. And right at the end of the play, you watch Corey Dillon come back into your picture, and Romanowski gives him a little kiss there at the pile.
Ball set all the way back to the 22-yard line. First down and 20. You see 11:04 to play in the first half. Griese in an open backfield. Takes a look, makes the throw. There's McCaffrey with his first catch, and it's a beauty. He's ahead for 20 yards on the play. And appears to have a first down.
On the first drive, Brian Griese was 4 for 4, and then since up until that last catch by McCaffrey, he was 0 for 4, or 0 for 5.
McCaffrey with his 42nd catch, averaging 13 yards a catch. This one was good for 20 yards.
One of the things that's crucial for the Broncos is to keep Brian Griese healthy. Now, that's not going to hurt him very badly, but whenever your quarterback's got a little bit of a gimped shoulder, you want to make sure he stays on his feet.
He has a slight cartilage tear in the back of his right shoulder and will undergo arthroscopic surgery at the conclusion of the season. Told us yesterday it only hurts when he throws the long ball. He lofted one today. In fact, it was too long for Rod Smith.
Yeah, and it's the training staff, the medical staff believe that he's not going to hurt it worse by throwing the football or playing. He kind of is like, oh, that's what they tell me. So he's out there, and he's a warrior. I mean, this guy is he's a football player.
Well, all the talk, Steve, about quick feet and rocket arm. Accuracy is the key, and that's what he has as he's on the run now. He throws and makes a connection to Rod Smith for a first down to the 40-yard line. So all of a sudden, after some troubles earlier, the Broncos offense really lights it up.
When you talk about this game, this is the difference in these two cities, tale of two cities here. Denver's 4th, 6th, 4th, 2nd, and Cincinnati is all the way to the bottom. They're 20th in rushing yards a game. That's because Corey Dillon is such a great athlete, but they are last in every other category, and that's why a lot of people think Denver's going to run off and leave them in this game.
Well, we'll see. Bengals hanging in. Broncos leading 7-3. Handoff and markers thrown in. It'll be a holding call against the Broncos. The umpire threw it in. 90% of the time, it's a blocking foul on the offense. That's what it is.
Holding, 66 offense, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Tom Nalen, the Pro Bowl center, called for a hold.
Now, you see, this is a team, when you watch these two teams play, it's always natural to compare the organizations. And the Broncos, obviously two-time world champions just a few years ago. They do everything top shelf. They've got 17 coaches on their staff. Mike Shanahan tapes all his installation meetings, so a new coach that comes into the staff can watch the installation of his offense or defense, and there's no loss of production.
Yeah, you can watch it going back the previous 5 years. Griese throwing. He's got an open man, and on the run is his big tight end. Carswell crashes down to the 15-yard line. Brian Griese baiting the defense as they came at him on a rush. When they got to him just before they hit, he releases it for a 36-yard gain.
This is the difference between a good quarterback and a quarterback that's on his way to greatness. He never misses the open guy. When you have somebody running free and uncovered, a lot of teams will go in the next day and say, oh, I didn't see him. Brian Griese always sees these guys. He never misses them, and that's why this offense really keys on his abilities.
Gary Kubiak always calling the offensive plays for the Broncos. On first down, Griese takes a look again, stands in, makes the throw, and a connection for a short gain, almost no gain, and good defense. He swung it down to Mike Anderson, who's really a safety valve, but linebacker Adrian Ross was right with him. A tackle for a gain of 2.
You can see that the Denver Broncos, when they click, they just never miss opportunities. And even though Griese is throwing the ball short, completions are positives, not only in the yardage end of the statistics, but they're a huge mental boost. When you complete them, even for no gain, you think, all right, that's exactly what we wanted to do, and they made a good play, but we're still doing what we think we can do.
Interesting point. Even the no gainers or the short gainers buoyant offense. Here's a 2nd down and 8 play. Another play take by Griese. Swings it down. He gets McCaffrey, and he's down to about the 8-yard line. Really hit hard. A gain of just 4 yards on the play. The Broncos really owe a debt of gratitude to their former coach Dan Reeves for McCaffrey, because he caught him with the Giants, did Reeves.
Yeah, you cut a guy like this. How can you not love a guy like Ed McCaffrey? Watch this catch and the crushing hit he takes. Watch here. Bang, bang. And the guy's big. I mean, Ed McCaffrey's built to take this kind of pressure. But I'll tell you what, that is a tough catch to make. Even though the ball gets there well before the defenders, you know that the violence is coming.
Well, he's been a great acquisition for the Broncos. Over 300 career catches in 5.5 seasons.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nextel, how business gets done. And by E-Trade, it's your money.
Can the St. Louis Rams be beaten? Well, the Chiefs seem to think so. They're whopping them right now, 27-7. Kansas City leading St. Louis. Broncos gave the Rams their toughest game. That was in week 1 when the Broncos lost at St. Louis 41-36 in the Monday night game. Griese hands off, and running inside the 5-yard line is K'Ron Coleman, a rookie runner from Stephen F. Austin. Hard to get a shot at him at 5'7", maybe 5'7", but he weighs 200 pounds and he gains 5.
It's interesting, this Denver Bronco offense. They have a feature back. It was Terrell Davis, then it was Orlandis Gary, and now it's Mike Anderson. But all those guys are very similar, and then you throw a guy in there like K'Ron Coleman, who's 5'7". That's a little bit of a difference from that guy right there, Terrell Davis.
Handoff, running hard is Coleman again, and he's down this time on a 1st and goal close to the 3-yard line, taken down by D lineman Glenn Steele. Well, they really put pressure, though, on a defense, these Broncos, don't they, Steve? So many formations, so many looks, the fakes, the play fakes. You don't see the same thing twice for a quarter.
They're so athletic up front as well. Those guys can make blocking schemes that other teams have problems doing because of the speed of their offensive linemen. Their guys can move up, block the secondary level of a defense, and make big creases in that defense.
The underrated part of Griese's game is his mobility, is the handoff, and like he shot out of a gun, Mike Anderson rips it right up the middle and into the end zone. And the Broncos now extend their lead to 13-3 with the extra point coming up.
Brian Griese began the game with a streak going 4 for 4. Then he went 0 for 4, and now he's 5 for 5 in the passing game, and they get down close and they just hand it off and pound it in. This was no question of a touchdown. The moment he got his hands on the ball, Mike Anderson already scored the touchdown.
Point after try now by one of the game's great kickers, Jason Elam. He drives it through. If it comes down to a long field goal, nobody's better than Jason Elam. That was an extra point, and the Broncos build their lead and will kick off when we come back. Mike Anderson just took it in, his 5th touchdown of the season. What a easy guy to root for. Mike Anderson is a terrific guy.
Yeah, you talk to him, and all these guys have their own little idiosyncrasies, things they do, but he's a real professional. He says the Marine Corps taught him discipline, taught him to be a team player, but I asked him if he did anything special that he only, he says, I get off by myself before practice, so I can go over the practice script, get my mind together on the plays, and I'm going to run. And when you have a guy that's doing that before practice as a backup, your team's going to be very solid.
This team is very solid, and here is the kickoff, a spinning kick, but it carries short. Taken run back from the 9-yard line. And turning the corner and getting out of bounds at about the 25-yard line is rookie runner Curtis Keaton, a 14-yard return. Tonight on 60 Minutes, while other kids play baseball, football, or basketball, this kid plays the stock market. So far, he's ahead by a cool $500,000. Meet him tonight on 60 Minutes.
Yeah, can you get me that kid's name?
I tell you, he's down a little bit in the last month.
I want to write that kid a check and tell him to help me out a little bit.
Right now, the Bengals could use him helping out with a big play from their quarterback, Akili Smith, who was in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as an outfielder first baseman for 2.5 years, and then played collegiately at the University of Oregon. Peter Warrick, oh, is he dangerous? He might be gone. Warrick turning wide. He's across the 50. Speed returning at him. They try to get him. Will they get him? They will not. Peter Warrick, the great player from Florida State, breaks the biggest play of the Bengals season. One of the biggest plays of the NFL this year. 77 yards. And it wasn't luck. He's that good.
Well, we've seen all day that the Bengals realize they can't outrun the Broncos to the sideline, but once they get there and have to stop and turn around, Warrick can outrun them to the other sideline. And there you see Akili Smith leading him down the sideline as an escort. All he needs is a flashing light. He could be a cop on a motorcycle. Touchdown.
That is right about Akili Smith as the quarterback ran downfield. A blocking convoy led by Akili Smith. And the Bengals are right back in the game as the extra point is up and good. And it's a 14-10 game as Peter Warrick, the sensational rookie, rips the Broncos for a 77-yard touchdown run.
A moment ago, we saw Peter Warrick go for the touchdown. This is how it happened. All the motion goes this way. The defense goes this way. Everyone converges over here, and Warrick brings it back by himself. And this has been one of the things about the Cincinnati offense. They have not been able to sustain very much, but every once in a while, one of their great players like Dillon or Peter Warrick will snap off a big one to give them a chance to stay close. That's what happened here.
Many scouts thought he was the #1 player in the last draft. He was the 4th overall pick. See today, 4 touches, 21 yards a touch, 77 though on that one.
Yeah, they want to get him the ball. There's no question. They've really made a concerted effort in the last 2 weeks to do that, and it's paid off.
Looks like it'll be a shootout here in Cincinnati. Here's the kick to rookie Delta O'Neal from 4 yards deep to the 10. Gets a block and another. Crosses the 20 and gets out to the 22-yard line. A gain of return of 26 yards on the play.
Earlier on, Peter Warrick said, hey, I can help this offense, but they've got to give me the football. Last week, they made 17 attempts to get him the football, most of which were in the first half, but there were also 10 incomplete passes thrown to him of those 17.
Warrick was a tremendous high school quarterback. He led his high school in Bradenton, Florida to the Florida Class 5A state championship.
Had another quarterback leading him down the sidelines there in Akili Smith.
Yeah, but he can also throw it on those reverses. Something to watch deeper into the game, perhaps. Here's a handoff, and a big run by Warrick apparently ignites the Bengals defense as they stop the runner for a gain of maybe a half yard.
And it's John Copeland right there. This is a defensive line that has been shuffled today. Copeland, Barnt, Von Booker's presence back into the lineup. They shuffle guys around inside and outside, trying to get their best athletes on the field. Let's face it, the Bengals are in a situation now where they're going for broke.
Well, people calling them the worst team in America. That's what Randy Cross called them on the NFL Today show. Randy might want to take a look at the LA Clippers. Here's the throw downfield, and Rod Smith makes the catch and dives out to the 46-yard line. And out of bounds there. A gain of some 23 yards on the play and a first down for the Broncos.
He's being guarded by Rodney Heath, but Rod Smith is one of those guys that he'll disappear for a little bit and then he'll catch a big one. This is a great play, great pass, dropped it right in. It's a good thing Rodney Heath tripped him up, or he might have been able to gather himself and turn up the sidelines, and if he could, he would have been gone for his own big play.
Big plays, that's been the norm in this game. Griese handoff, and now they start run blitzing, shooting the gaps, and they knock Mike Anderson down. Oliver Gibson got there first. Before there was a Tiger, there was the Golden Bear, and next, Journey with Jack, as we take a heartwarming and nostalgic look back at the storied career of Jack Nicklaus on Nicklaus, the final march through the majors.
There are few people in athletics that earn the right to have everybody cheer for him. I think Jack Nicklaus is one of them.
Well, Tiger's been great, but he's got a long way to go to catch up in the majors to the Golden Bear with the watchmaker's hands. And here is Griese throwing beautifully to McCaffrey. And McCaffrey gets inside the 30-yard line, a 24-yard gain on the play. And if you like offense, this is the place to be.
Oh, they're going up and down the field now, and you can tell the Broncos don't like the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals drew this close. They're airing it out a little more than they did in their first 3 or 4 possessions. McCaffrey and Rod Smith now becoming much more involved, and the Bengals are trying to jump all over Mike Anderson to make sure that Griese has to throw the football. I think this is a situation dictated by that defense. They're stopping the run now that they've been gashed by Mike Anderson, and Griese's exploiting them.
5 men up on the defensive front of the Bengals. Griese hands off, and the run is slammed. Coleman, the rookie, nothing. John Copeland, who's been moved inside from defensive end to defensive tackle today, he makes the stop. Big 92 out of Alabama.
Now, this is a guy that, it's obvious this defense with John Copeland and the other guys up front, they're starting to throw some guys at the line of scrimmage because Mike Anderson did have a good first quarter. I mean, he was running through them like nothing. Now they're throwing everybody at the line of scrimmage, and Griese's going to have to drop back and continue to throw the ball to be successful.
Well, Griese is 11 of 15 throwing for the day. He's completed his last 7. They give him some blocking. He takes a look. Not much going on. He gets the guy, but comes in high as he shoots at Desmond Clark, his tight end. And that will bring up 3rd down and 11 from the 30-yard line of Cincinnati.
It's interesting about these tight ends of Denver that Brian Griese has thrown to a couple of times. We've seen Dwayne Carswell catch one. Desmond Clark's had some thrown to him. All 4 tight ends on the Broncos roster are homemade. I mean, they were all drafted by the Broncos. They're all guys that they're coming up through. Brian Chamberlain and Dwayne Carswell are veterans that have been there for a while. And Desmond Clark and Billy Miller are guys who kind of have just got there and are learning the system in kind of an apprenticeship.
Right now, there's a timeout on the field as with 2:03 left to play in the first half. As Griese comes over to get some counsel now from his coach Mike Shanahan. Shanahan telling us the enormous growth of Griese as a player from last year to this. Just his whole game has just been elevated so markedly. Even the coaching staff marvels.
The most interesting thing about Griese is the fact not so much that he's playing so much better. He played well at times last year. In fact, he played well in a team that was very injured. But I think this year he doesn't make any mistakes. And you see here, that's some interesting company right there. And you think Kurt Warner, Jeff Garcia, Brian Griese, 3 years ago, you would never hear about these guys. Who are all these guys? They're the top in the National Football League now.
Well, Griese a week ago, as you know, Steve, passed for 303 yards in the first half. And that's not been done before by any Bronco quarterback. Here's a swing pass as Griese beats the blitz and gets it to K-Ron Coleman, and he gets ahead for a first down. A 12-yard gain on the play, and a penalty marker's down at the 25-yard line.
An illegal man down the field. When they threw that football, the offensive lineman had already released to go block for Coleman down the field. Now it's going to come back and be 3rd and 16. What a great play call, though. A great execution, except for the offensive lineman being down the field.
Illegally downfield on a forward pass. 78 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down. 2-minute warning.
Matt Lepsis, the right tackle. So the 2-minute warning is given. We'll be back to Cincinnati in a moment. Broncos lead the Bengals 14-10 with just under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker has been kind of like a can you top this game? One big play after the other.
Well, it started out slow. Denver, a nice, slow, methodical drive down the field. And then Cincinnati answering with snapping off a couple of very big plays, most notably to Peter Warrick. But Corey Dillon has also gotten into the act. But this is, you're right, this is a game that has been marked by big plays.
Well, they need a big play now. Look at the guys. They jumped offside. They jumped into the neutral zone, did the Bengals. As Griese actually handed off up the middle. Would be a long field goal attempt if that play was not converted. I want to remind you that coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report, join Jim, Mike, and Jerry for all the scores and highlights, plus all the latest NFL news, all coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. 3 markers down.
It was interesting. That was a handoff up the middle, and you got to think maybe they were thinking about field goal position for Jason
Neutral
Dillon.
zone infraction. Defense, 39. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
That means if they get no gain on this play, it went from being a 53-yard attempt to a 38-yard or 48-yard attempt, and that's a little bit better for Jason Elam, the kicker for the Denver Broncos. You see there, Dick LeBeau can't be happy.
Well, they still got another down to go. They still have 3rd down over at the 30.
And there's Jason Elam, who was out with a back injury earlier in the year. I spoke to him before the game. He says he's pretty good. He feels good. He just doesn't feel like the muscles in his back are strong enough. But I think he's probably ready to hit a 48-yarder.
Nobody's better at the long one. Here's a blitz. Griese throws. He gets his guy, and the ball is caught and incomplete. So the line of scrimmage will be the 30 as a big rush was put on by Tremaine Mack coming on a safety blitz.
And this is what makes Brian Griese a good quarterback. He gets back, just uses his wheels, feels the blitz, just buys him time, backs up, and then puts the ball to the guy who's ready to catch it.
Now here's Elam ready to try a 47-yarder. Here's a guy that has hit almost 65% of his field goals of 50 yards or more during his career. Over the last 7 years, he's scored more points than any player in the NFL. His kick spins up straight away, and it's no good. Wide. So a moral victory for the Bengals. But they can't be too buoyed. They have to hang in. This is a team that has led Miami at the half, led Tennessee at the half, and in the second half, disaster. November 22nd, 1981, the last time Cincinnati defeated Denver. Ken Anderson, usually known for his great arm, ran in this touchdown to give the Bengals the win. They went on to win 38-21. Bengals went on to win the AFC that season, but lost to the 49ers in Super Bowl 16, 26-21. And now Kenny Anderson
calling the plays.
Yep, offensive coordinator. Not getting a lot of sleep, he told us yesterday. Dillon trying to run wide, and the Broncos run him down at the 39-yard line.
You got to think that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to play it very close to the vest. In the last two games, both against Miami and last week against Pittsburgh, disaster struck just before halftime. They gave up a back-breaking play to the Dolphins on a fumble recovery, sack, and a touchdown return for the Dolphins. And then last week they gave up another sack and a forced fumble and gave the Pittsburgh Steelers an opportunity to score before halftime too. Both times it led to disaster in the second half.
Keely Smith takes a look, makes a throw, and it's broken up. Beautifully done. Coming over is Billy Jenkins, the strong safety, who has very good range and also packs a wallop when he hits.
A moment ago we spoke about Keely Smith and the problems the Bengals had just before halftime. This is 2 weeks ago against the Miami Dolphins. Jason Taylor, whack, the sack, the fumble, he picks it up. That's a touchdown that gave the Dolphins a 3-point deficit rather than a 10-point. And last week in Pittsburgh, this led to a field goal right before halftime for the Steelers. The Bengals could recover from neither play.
Well, when you're 0-6 and just excoriated by every media outlet in Ohio, you got to keep trying. And they tried there, and coming up was Glenn Kedrez, number 59, a linebacker who lays out the receiver. And Kedrez looks like he was shaken up making the hit. There's a Trevor Price who's down.
He came out on pursuit of the play on the screen pass. He got caught up in some traffic there. You got to think whenever that happens, sometimes they'll get rolled up by the what they call garbage behind the play. Guys kind of tripping and falling over all their own feet. And Trevor Price that might have been what happened to him in the traffic over there.
Trevor, they're looking at, as you see it, his right leg. This is one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL.
Right, this is him right here. He comes in, and there you see the cut block on his foot came down just as the cut block came. This is Trevor Price. That's the production he's given them. You know, this is a guy that wants to play well. He's in the last year of a contract. He wants to get a new one of those.
Well, he turned down a 7-year, $31 million contract extension earlier in the season. But right now, he's good to see him up and coming off under his own power. Looks like he's not seriously hurt.
Yeah, cut blocks don't really bother you unless your foot's planted when they do it. Just as his left foot came down, it looked like the block got to it so that his foot had nowhere to go.
Fourth down comes up. Still 1:04 left to play in the first half. So the Broncos will take another shot at it, getting the ball back on a punt. Daniel Pope, you see, struggling as a punter. They went with a couple of young kickers this year, did the Bengals. A very young team, but the abuse heaped on this team is just unbelievable, particularly on the president of the team, Mike Brown. And they're really an angry group looking for a breakthrough win. And here is the fair catch made at the 15-yard line by Delta O'Neal of the Broncos. A 48-yard punt, nicely done by Pope, and no return. Next Sunday on the NFL on CBS, it's a Week 9 doubleheader. First, the Jets battle the Bills in an AFC East clash, and in the late game, many of you will see Mark Brunell lead the Jaguars against Emmitt Smith and the Cowboys, or the Chiefs will take on the Seahawks. Check local listings beginning with Jim, Craig, Randy, Jerry, Mike, and Marcus on the NFL Today.
One of the most outspoken critics of the Bengals organization was Randy Cross today on the NFL Today. He pulled no punches.
Right now, let's see what the Broncos can do. As you see, 56 ticks left in the first half. Fumble. Griese does well to get the ball back. That'll bring up second down and 10.
Just as we spoke about the problems the Bengals had, Brian Griese fumbles a snap, and that's the kind of disaster you don't want to happen right before halftime. That could have been disastrous for the Broncos if he doesn't recover that.
It was interesting, Steve, when we talked to Mike Shanahan. He said he's been around some great quarterbacks. He was around Joe Montana and Steve Young at San Francisco. Of course, around John Elway at Denver. He said they're all great, but they're all different. He likens Griese's play, says I see more and more Joe Montana in him.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because I kind of look at him and see Steve Young, because Steve Young also had to replace a legend in Joe Montana himself.
Said, can he throw like Elway? Talking about Griese, he said, no. Can he run like Young? No, but he does a lot of good things like Joe Montana. Look at this run. As Coleman, the rookie, K'Ron Coleman, takes it across the 25-yard line and out to the 27. A 13-yard gain on the play. And that will do it for the first half of play. See, the Broncos just enormous winning percentage, 44-46 of their last 46 when they've led at the half. That's the end of the first half. With the score, the Denver Broncos 14, the Cincinnati Bengals 10. We'll send you back to Jim Nantz in New York. But first, these messages. The winless Bengals hanging in with the Broncos. Denver leading 14-10 at the half. Don Crickey with Steve Tasker. A lot of big plays in this game. The biggest by the sensational rookie for the Bengals, Peter Warrick.
Well, it all started out, and that's one of the things that they're going to do with Peter Warrick. Get him involved in the running game. They hand this off to him on a sweep to the right. He doesn't see what he likes, turns around, and this is where his ability takes over. The defense knows he's a good runner. They over-pursue, and then they get caught as he outruns them to the goal line with Akili Smith leading the way. This is the type of play that the Bengals needed. Now they are right back in the thick of things, and this is what they want. They want a chance to win it in the fourth quarter.
Akili Smith, quarterback, leading the blocking there, but he's only completed 2 passes, yet his team is still in it. And then there was some big plays also for the Broncos in the first half. And they, with the very astute play of Brian Griese, have hung in. And now they will give up the ball, though, kick it off to start the third quarter of play. Tremaine Mack, number 34, who dropped what would have been a touchdown interception in the first half. Back deep. See how the sad story in the second half.
That's the story of it. They've got to score some points in the second half and put 2 good halves of football together.
Here comes Mack. Finds a crease and gets out to the 35-yard line. The Broncos excel today in the red zone. Here they are, Steve.
Well, this is the key spot on the field. You see here, this is the first touchdown. The rollout pass, the fullback's wide open and manages to pull it in. And the second one, this is just a run. Nobody's there to stop him as he runs in. Mike Anderson with the second touchdown for the Broncos. That's been the story.
Well, this story is a long way to go. A lot more to be written on this day at Paul Brown Stadium. Broncos have beaten the Bengals the last 8 times they played. Akili Smith goes to the run, and there is Corey Dillon, who's hit high, but still fights his way to the 39-yard line. Dillon was signed for $3.5 million to play this season, a 1-year contract. Dave Wanstead of Miami calls Corey Dillon the mystery guy. Says you can never tell how he's going to be, but if he's on his game, they're tough to beat.
You see there, the thing that really jumps out at you is the time of possession. The Denver Broncos with almost 20 minutes of the first half. That's a huge advantage.
Here now is Akili Smith in trouble, and this is where he has to watch out and not throw it away. And finally, he is swept under. A tremendous play by all that speed, and the Bronco defense, as Greg Robinson said, we're not about size, we're about movement.
Well, one of the things we spoke to Ken Anderson about yesterday was he said, you know, Akili's getting better, but one of the things he has to learn is when to throw the football away. And you see there, instead of running sideline to sideline to try and find a gap in the defense, he retreats and goes backwards. Then his vision never gets any better. The field comes more cluttered rather than more clear. If you run side to side, sideline to sideline as a quarterback, the defense opens up and you give yourself a better line of sight. But it got worse instead of better for Akili on that play.
There was an 11-yard loss on that sack. And now there's a timeout on the field. It'll be 3rd down and 17 for the Bengals when we come back. Back to live action, and the Bengals have just changed quarterbacks, and here's a handoff, and Corey Dillon breaks it! Unbelievable. They absolutely rip open the Broncos defense on 3rd down and 17. They pulled Akili Smith and they put in the veteran Scott Mitchell for that play at quarterback. And on 3rd and 17, they rip off a run all the way down. 37 yards downfield. It'll be out of bounds at the 35-yard line.
Well, they switched quarterbacks during the timeout. Scott Mitchell just comes in and hands the ball off to Corey Dillon. He's already got runs of 26, 31, and 21 today.
And that was for 37.
On a 3rd and 17. Unbelievable.
3rd and 17, and he gained 37. First down, Bengals. Handoff, and running hard is Dillon, who is an absolutely vicious competitor. He says he's a 30 guy, 25 to 30 guy, meaning he wants it 25 to 30 times a game. Scott Mitchell at quarterback was abysmal last week against the Steelers when he got in there.
He did not play well last week, but you know, this is a guy that was a starter in Detroit and led the #1 offense in the National Football League during the 1995 regular season.
The Broncos were the #2 run defense in the NFL, and Dillon is averaging 10 yards a rush against them on 12 carries. That time the give was to Brandon Bennett, a second-year fullback from South Carolina. And he stopped for no gain. Harold Hasselbach gets him down.
Keelan had 2 of 9 for 34 yards. In the last play that he was in, he retreated, lost 11 yards, dropped straight back, couldn't get out of the way of the pressure, didn't throw the football away, took a bad sack. And now he sits down. It's obvious they're not attending to him, so I don't think he's injured. I think they just sat him down. Yeah, they sat him down.
Hurt feelings is all at this point. See what Mitchell can do, though. He's not very mobile, as you see there, as he throws the ball away. Is that grounding?
He's outside the tackle.
I guess they ruled he was outside the tackle box, so he can throw it anywhere he'd like. And now we're told by our producer, Jim Rickoff, who's been in contact with the Bengals bench, that Akili was maybe getting checked for a concussion.
He got dinked. He probably he's not all there. They don't think he's all there. That's why. And it becomes evident very quickly. That's what happened. They called a timeout because the players on the field realized Akili didn't have all his marbles. His teammates probably looked over the sideline and said, hey, Akili's calling somebody else's offense.
Intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding.
Number 19.
It was intentional grounding.
10 yards. It will be placed to the spot of the foul. Loss of down. 4th down.
So Corey Dillon's big run is all for naught, although they could pin the Broncos back on this punt. So Akili did get dinged, as you referred to it, Steve. We're told he's experiencing some dizziness, so he could return if it goes away. Hopefully it will. Daniel Pope into punt now for Cincinnati. It's a good punt, a high punt. O'Neal will let it hit, and it caroms into the end zone for a touchback. And the Broncos will have their first possession of the second half when we come back to Paul Brown Stadium.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. Warner Brothers' new motion picture Red Planet, coming soon. And by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
We're back to Cincinnati on a perfect October day. The Broncos holding to a 14-10 lead over the winless Bengals. Denver going on offense for the first time in the second half now. 1st and 10 after the touchback on the punt after 20. We'll take a look at the hit that Akili Smith took that may have given him a dizzy spell. Here's a throw and a catch. Beautifully done. Griese to Ed McCaffrey. And the former Stanford standout is ahead for an 18-yard gain and a Bronco first down.
You see, there's Akili Smith. He was complaining of dizziness, and if you want to know why, this may be the reason, as he gets planted right into the turf. You see there, that'll make you an inch. If you're 6'2" now, you're 6'1" after that hit.
They're still looking at him.
And I think they called a timeout. The teammates realized Akili wasn't Akili, trying to call that play in the huddle.
He had really struggled throwing the ball in the first half, just 2 of 9 completions. Here's a handoff, and John Copeland, who's been moved inside today to defensive tackle, gets a head-on hit. Now, while we have a moment, let's go back to the NFL today. Jim?
All right, thank you, Don. 3.5 games without producing a touchdown. Tony Banks and the Ravens. They've given up one the other way. Randall Godfrey returns it for the Titans, an 8-point lead. And listen to this. In the Rams game, Kurt Warner, broken little finger on his throwing hand, will not return today. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
Thanks, Jim. You've had some broken appendages. Steve, how long's a broken finger have you out?
It's 3 weeks at least.
Even for a quarterback, not more, huh?
Well, if it's his throwing hand, there's some quarterback. I saw Drew Bledsoe try and go with a broken finger. You may be able to do it. And as we see, Akili Smith is going into the locker room.
He was a number 3 quarterback taken in the first round, the 3rd pick overall. After Couch went to the Browns and McNabb went to the Eagles.
And we've just had a 5-yard penalty against the Bengals defense. It'll be 2nd and about 3 as they were in the neutral zone. You'll see here, watches. Yep, pretty obvious. Von Booker.
It's amazing to watch this McCaffrey. The guy's 6'5". I mean, you certainly can see him out there, and all of a sudden he's running wide open and free.
You see him give stiff arms a lot after he catches the ball, and that is a great weapon of his.
Handoff and running hard and coughing the ball up, and the Bengals have it. Fumble by the Broncos. Cincinnati has the ball at their 47-yard line. Chris Carter comes up with the ball, number 42.
And now the Broncos are going to think about all the opportunities that they missed in the first half as the Bengals charge.
After the fumble by the Broncos, the ball now turns over to the Bengals. 1st and 10 of their 47. Scott Mitchell gets some time, lost the long ball, and Marco Battaglia can't quite get to it. Battaglia protesting he was fouled by Eric Brown, but the official on top of the play says no. Battaglia was a first-team All-American at Rutgers when he came out of there 5 years ago.
And watch, he releases up and see nice little out-and-up move. He gets open, and right here, even if he didn't have a tag-along partner there, I still don't think that ball was catchable. Just was a little bit too long for him. I think that's what the referee saw as well.
And of course, the one big difference between Akili Smith and the guy that's in there now, Scott Mitchell. Mitchell is not mobile. He's very big, 6'6". Handoff. Corey Dillon just busts open this defense. This is like men against boys, the way he's ripping this Bronco defense open. Unbelievable. He's going to get 200 yards today.
He's playing against a defense in the Broncos that is number 2 in the National Football League against the run, and he's snapping off 20-yard run after 20-yard run. He breaks a tackle here as he comes through the line of scrimmage, and this is why he's such a weapon. You may get a free hitter right in the hole, like right there. Terrell Buckley's got a shot. He's got no chance to tackle that. Corey Dillon is just too strong.
29-yard gain on the play as Dillon is in absolutely the game. 13 carries, 150 yards rushing against the number 2 rush defense in the NFL. They take him out. Brandon Bennett goes in, and he breaks it. Gets down inside the 20, down to the 19-yard line.
Right now you can feel that the Cincinnati Bengals smell a little bit of blood in the water, and the Broncos are looking just a little bit confused. Corey Dillon, they're 5-0 when he rushes for 125 yards plus, and they don't get 5 wins all that often. So when he goes over 125, you feel like you got a pretty good shot.
Well, there's, somebody is the different teams you come in to play the Bengals, I'll say. When you lose as many games as these guys have for a decade, you get a lot of high draft choices. Dillon came in the 2nd round. Here's Bennett running right through the Broncos. Really a fabulous effort and an embarrassment for the Denver defense. 3 guys hit him, and they all fell down. 19 yards and a touchdown.
Well, they don't get to do that very often in Cincinnati. When they do, it's awful special.
That wasn't even Corey Dillon. That was Brandon Bennett.
That is a fantastic run by Brandon Bennett. Watch here. This is athleticism personified. Watch this great cut and bang. Get off me. Get lost. I'm going in. Romanowski's the last guy with a shot at him. That is a fantastic run by a backup running back. The Bengals are all over the Broncos.
The extra point hit up and good by Rackers, and the Bengals have their first second half touchdown of the season. And they've taken the lead 17-14. Cincinnati kicks off when we come back.
The NFL NFL on CBS is sponsored by Goodyear, serious technology, freedom from worry. And by the Insider Pizza new from Pizza Hut, another one of the best pizzas under one roof.
The Cincinnati Bengals have rushed for 256 yards in this game against the tough, or supposedly tough, Bronco run defense. Now a good kick hit downfield, picked up by an up back, and the ball is taken by Detron Smith across the 35-yard line and out to the 36. 14-yard return. You get the feeling, Steve, that the Broncos can throw at will on the Bengal defense.
And that's been one of the reasons you see there's the Bengals 4 plays, 53 yards, and only a minute 28. This Bengal team knows that the Broncos have got a really good offense. And a lot of the time, the reason their run defense has been rated so high is because teams have had to throw the football around the football field to keep up with Brian Griese, Rod Smith, and Ed McCaffrey. But they're finding out right now that that run defense, when tested, sometimes doesn't hold up.
Well, it hasn't held up today. Right now, Griese with an open backfield ready to throw. Here comes the blitz. He throws and completes it to his tight end. Running hard, but taken down by Omega Spearman. There's Desmond Clark. And that was actually Dwayne Carswell who caught the ball, the other tight end, and he gets the ball to the 40-yard line.
You can just bet now that Brian Griese is going to back up and throw the ball. They went empty that time. They had nobody in the backfield. It was obviously a passing situation. The Broncos are going to come out and try and make an offensive statement here about how good they are and how good they've played in the last few weeks. They want to put this game, put themselves back on top in this game immediately.
Griese to throw again. Again, he hits a tight end. This is Desmond Clark who gets it, and he's driven down. But he did get ahead to the 44-yard line. A gain of 4 yards on the play, and it'll make it 3rd down and 3. Tuesday on CBS, F-14s are falling from the sky. Is it a government conspiracy or an act of terrorism? Find out on an all-new Jag Tuesday on CBS. But they've really tightened the run defense of the Bengals in this game. They've shown no sign of being able to slow down Griese's throwing.
Well, they're playing right now like they have at no other time in the second half of any game this season.
Blitz. Another throw, beautifully executed for a 1st down as Griese saw the blitz coming from his blind side. He turned back and caught it, and then made the strike for a 7-yard gain to Ed McCaffrey for a 1st down.
And it looks as though the Denver Broncos are going to just abandon the run game for the time being. This is Ed McCaffrey. Simple little out pattern, tough to defend, especially against a big receiver like McCaffrey, because he's so difficult to run around and break up the pass. The quick out is just a tough route. You almost have to jump it to have any chance of stopping it.
McCaffrey now with 6 catches for 84 yards. Handoff. Nothing there for the running game. They go back to Coleman, the rookie. And he is taken down by the free safety, Darrell Williams, as they're really bringing people up to test the run.
Yeah, and this whole game turned on the series when the Cincinnati Bengals decided they were not going to let Mike Anderson and the running backs of the Broncos hit them for any more big runs. They were very successful early on in the run game were the Broncos. But the Bengals decided, you could almost see it in certain series, they came out and they just said, we're going to stop the run and make Brian Griese beat us. The run game has been non-existent since.
McCaffrey coming out to the left side, to the near side. Griese takes a look, makes a throw. Beautiful catch. Not enough for a 1st down, though. And there's also a penalty marker down in the backfield, is there? Yes, there is, where Griese was hit a personal foul against the Bengals for roughing the quarterback.
Yeah, they hit Griese late. Did Glenn Steele.
So that'll give the Broncos a 1st down. The Broncos trailing in the game 17-14.
Roughing the passer. 70 defense. 15 yards. Automatic 1st down.
Well, the Bengals are leading in this game, but this is a point when, and this is tacked on at the end of the play, so this is a huge play for the Broncos. You see here, coming in low, and that you just cannot do that. The quarterbacks in this league are protected.
Well, 2 have been hurt today. 3 of them have. McNown went out for the Bears.
Yeah, separated
Warner went out, and Akili Smith went out here.
And that's the reason. I mean, they're just too vulnerable.
Griese again takes a look. Jump throws, and it's broken up. Coming over the top was Adrian Ross, a linebacker. Breaking the play up.
Well defended by the Bengals. It looks like now the Bengals are finally in the second half of a football game, and they believe they can win. You can tell in the way they're walking back to the huddle and the way they're pursuing to the football. And this is as the pocket collapses on Griese. That's becoming more and more a habit now today as the game wears on. And that's Adrian Ross, who broke up the pass just a moment ago. It's a good play.
Run up the middle, and this time, Aaron Coleman, listed at 5'7", might be 5'5", but he can carry the ball as he's ahead for an 8-yard gain up the middle down to the 21-yard line. Actually, he's going to spot him down at the 19.
That's amazing. You think a guy that's how you look as he walks through the huddle. I mean, he comes up at the top of the numbers of some of those offensive linemen that play in front of him. And you think, and it is an advantage. You know, you kind of hide behind those guys, pick your spots, and the defensive linemen and linebackers have a hard time picking you out of the crowd.
Back to Coleman, and they're trying to strip the ball as they go at it hard. On a 3rd down and short play, he didn't get there. 3rd down and 2, and it looks like he's going to be very short, maybe by a foot of the 1st down.
Well, they're short by a yard, and
Cincinnati.
Jason Elam is not coming out. They're going to go for it on 4th down.
Hey, what kind of a team are you? They can't get it a foot on a winless Bengals. Well, we'll find out. They might throw for a touchdown here. They might run right. Run right ahead, and Aaron Coleman as they split open the defense. A gain of 4 yards when they needed less than 1. And so the Broncos drive on to the 15-yard line.
That's a confident call. Mike Shanahan knows he's got a good offensive line. The run game has been stopped, but for a foot, he knows a 5'7" guy is going to be able to find a crack in there. Hand it to him. They're running the ball very well. Just get the foot and give us a chance at a touchdown.
But it's just amazing. The official number for the Bengals have the ball. Their rushing game today, 255 yards rushing. We're in the 3rd quarter. Look at the fake by Griese. Takes a look, makes a throw, incomplete and intercepted. Chris Carter picks it off, and he's back to the 11-yard line. And as the Bengals hang in this game, the Broncos are in greater jeopardy with every passing minute. Back to live action, back to the run. Corey Dillon runs the ball ahead to the 15-yard line. He gained 4 yards on the play, stopped by Bill Romanowski. As we'll watch only the 2nd interception that Brian Griese's thrown this year.
And this one's not his fault. As he drops back, you'll see as the receiver comes across, he's going to throw this right into the breadbasket and that should have been caught, and yet it ends up an interception.
I tell you, the hit set it up.
It sure did. The play was made by the defensive back.
Rodriguez Spearman, linebacker, put the first hit on. Look at that hit. And here's a penalty marker thrown in. Umpire throwing it in. An early indication it's probably against the offense. Monty Regerin makes the strike.
Penalty flag is thrown on the play.
Holding 72 offense. 10-yard penalty.
Matt O'Dwyer.
Correction. Half the distance. Remains 2nd down.
One of the things about this Denver team, they're plus 14 coming in today on turnovers. Now they're -1, and if you're overmatched by a team like, you know, logic says the Bengals are against the Broncos, you have to take something away that they're counting on. And the Broncos count on getting a couple of extra possessions during a game. They haven't gotten that today, and the Bengals have been opportunistic, and the run game has really, really been the huge boost today.
An unbelievable run game. 259 yards rushing for the Bengals. Here's a handoff. This has been their long yardage play, a run right up the middle.
And it's amazing. The Bengals have managed, as I said, that you got to take something away from your opponent. They've been able to take 2 things away from the Broncos. The turnover battle, they've won. They're +1. And also, their run defense was considered a strength of the Broncos defense. Well, the Bengals are running it up. I mean, you look at that. I mean, 260 yards when the season average is 65.
Amazing.
That's a huge turnaround for a defense.
Tell you one thing the Broncos can do, though, intercept the ball. This is 3rd down and 13. They go to the run. Corey Dillon, there it is, the long yardage offense. Dillon gets a first down. 3rd and 13, he gains 15 yards and a first down. The Broncos cannot stop him. Try as they might, Corey Dillon just runs right through them.
These are the yards that the Denver defense has given up. Not too many. Oakland nicked him for 123, but nobody else has gotten over 80 yards. And today, the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'll tell you what, that's a slap in the face when you're 3rd and 13 and hand the ball off to your fullback and you get it to your running back. And they've done it a number of times today. They converted a 3rd and 17 and just then a 3rd and 13. That's a slap in the face.
The Bengals, Steve, have had 8 runs today of over 15 yards. Some of them way over 15 yards. Here is ball downfield and broken up nicely. Beautifully defended by Jimmy Spencer as we now go back to Jim Nance in New York. Jim?
All right, thank you, Don. A little fluty magic so far at Minnesota. The Bills, after 8 minutes and 30 seconds, score with the rookie Sammy Morris. So undefeated Minnesota trails, undefeated St. Louis trails, and a hurricane winless Cincinnati in front. What a wild day. Let's go back to you.
It is a wild day and a hazardous day. Lots of quarterbacks going down today with various injuries. Now an injured player, John Jackson, the left tackle. Starting for the Bengals today. He's a guy that started for the Steelers for a number of years and then was in the Super Bowl with San Diego.
See him right there. He just kind of does the splits and goes down. You got to think maybe he pulled a groin muscle or perhaps his foot got caught in the...
He's okay.
He's up and walking off. Nothing, no real contact. Forced him to go down. You just think he got caught in an awkward position off bounds. I guess when you're that big, you can do that. He's 6'6", 290. What do they find these guys? 6'6", 297.
I don't know, but he's at least that big. The right tackle for the Bengals, 71, Willie Anderson. They list him at 340, probably 360, and outweighs the guy he's blocking, the left end, Ma'a Tuanavasa, by about 70 pounds. Here's a big hit put on by outside backer John Mobley. More stuff happening with the Colts and the Patriots. Let's go back to Jim in New York.
Okay, and again, these are strange happenings today. New England playing at Indianapolis. 1-yard sneak, Bledsoe in, and the Patriots trying to beat the Colts for the 2nd time in 3 weeks. Lead by 9 at Indianapolis. Back to you.
Drew Bledsoe running for another touchdown. Did a quarterback sneak for 11 yards a week ago, and now he's doing it again.
Let's see if they run here, Steve. It's 3rd and long. This is the way they like to run it. They're going to throw it. Mitchell takes a look. Lost an open ball downfield. And he had a guy running free, his tight end, Tony McGee, though. But McGee can only get a hand on the ball and can't take it in a little bit long as we see Vic LeBeau, a happy guy on the sideline.
When you got an ice pack on the back of your neck like Achilles Smith does there, they do that when they think you've got a concussion. I've been there.
Is that right?
Yeah, they put that on the back of your neck to it kind of straightens you up and kind of perks you up a little bit and get you back into the flow of things. But you're not going to see much from Achilles Smith the rest of the day if they're putting ice on the back of his neck.
You know, the earlier interception turnover did stop a Broncos drive, but the Bengals were able to get the ball downfield. Now a long punt hit down by Pope. Deldo O'Neal running hard as the Bengals playing viciously on special teams. Everybody attacking the ball. Before there was a Tiger, there was the Golden Bear. And next, Journey with Jack as we take a heartwarming and nostalgic look back at the storied career on Nicholas, a final march through the majors. The march today has been the Cincinnati Bengal ground game, which has ripped open one of the best run defenses in the NFL, at least up until today, for 274 yards, and we're not yet through 3 quarters of play.
And one of the things that might be aiding the Cincinnati running game is Trevor Price has a sprained knee, will not come back or not return to the game. There's been a lot of injuries all across the National Football League today. Broken fingers, separated shoulders, twisted knees. Starting to take its toll, the physical nature of this game across the league.
1st and 10. Griese looks, swings it out. Will, the defense was there right on time. Takeo Spikes, the best player on the Bengals. In truth, one of the best players in the National Football League. He'd be in the Pro Bowl every year if he didn't play for such a losing team. See, they talk about a balance between run and pass. How about this one? The Bengals have rushed for 275 yards. They have 23 yards passing.
You know what, though? they'd probably take that balance every week if they could get it. I mean, that's...
Hey, they're leading.
That's the balance they're really worried about, is the scoreboard.
The offensive line of the Bengals has overpowered the defensive line of the Broncos in this game. Griese takes a look, makes the throw. Now a penalty marker's fired in from way back. 2 markers down. Holding against the defense, it looks like.
Ed McCaffrey drew this penalty with his guile, I think, a little bit. Now he's kind of... I don't think Ed McCaffrey's going to be able to continue. He's down on one knee.
Holding defense 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Ed McCaffrey was just going to run a quick up route. It might have been a hook route. He started to turn around. The defensive back latched onto him, and the ball flew past. There was contact way before the play. And Ed McCaffrey took himself out of the game and then couldn't make it all the way to the sideline. You see there, as the training staff comes out to talk to him. 6 catches for 84 yards. Good day for any receiver. But Ed McCaffrey is such a huge part of this offense, because not only because of his numbers, although those are huge.
Good to see Big Ed up there. Looks like he's okay.
Yeah, Easy Ed is a guy that I think picks this team up by the way and the style that he plays. He's physical. He's a team player. You know,
he's a great player. I mean, over 1,000 yards receiving the last 2 years, over 300 catches in 5.5 seasons for the Broncos.
That's the kind of player that a team has that makes everybody around him better, because when you see a guy busting it every week, everybody else follows suit.
First down, to the run they go, and there's nothing there. Slamming the door is Michael Bankston, the defensive end, on K'Ron Coleman.
Travis McGriff came into the game when Ed McCaffrey went out. Now Ed McCaffrey comes back into the game. And Travis McGriff leaves the game.
McCaffrey with 6 catches for 84 yards so far in the game, and that's the end of the 3rd quarter with a score. The Cincinnati Bengals 17, the Denver Broncos 14. We'll return to Cincinnati after these messages and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. We're ready now to start the 4th quarter. Ball is 2nd down and 12 where it's positioned at the Broncos 39-yard line. Broncos coaches told us their #1 game plan key was to limit the run game of Cincinnati, not let them control the ball. And yet Cincinnati might have the best rushing offense of any team in the NFL this season, this day, with 274 yards rushing through 3 quarters of play.
That has been the story. You see that these are passing yards. Of course, Denver now using the pass to try and get back into this game. And Cincinnati, with the running game going, they're just going to keep feeding Corey Dillon the football and run down the clock. The clock is now their friend. I tell you what, though, they're against a Broncos team that is very used to being in tight, tough football games, and they're used to winning.
Oh, yeah, they know how to win games. Griese takes a look, throws the ball downfield. Look at that catch. Beautifully done. That's Ed McCaffrey, who was out a minute ago. Right back in. Running like Secretariat down the field for a 24-yard gain.
The guy goes out one play, comes back in the next. Watch this as he goes, takes an outside release, little stick move, goes right up the hash mark, and that ball is right on the money. And you see there as the defensive back brushes him with his knees down right at the spot, leaving the big gash on the football field.
You talk about a stick move. What's that?
When he takes that left foot and breaks the post, he sticks that foot right in the ground, plants, and changes direction. That's the 7th pass catch for 110 yards. That was a nice big play for the Broncos right there.
They used to call that a post.
Well, it was a post route, but he used a stick move at the top of the post.
There you go. 1st and 10. Here's a handoff. K'Ron Coleman finds some room to run, and he gets down to the 32-yard line of Cincinnati. Friday on the #1 new drama of the season, CSI. Could a piece of string solve a frat house death? Could a missing limb lead to a killer? William Peterson and Mark Helgenberger star in an all-new CSI crime scene investigation. That's after The Fugitive, Friday on CBS. Another Bronco being attended to. Looks like K'Ron Coleman was shaken up on the play. Timeout on the field.
Bengals fans, make sure to catch all the Bengals action.
Back to live action. Karan Coleman's gone out, and they go back now to Anderson, who runs hard on 2nd down and 5. But he's also hit hard. And taken down on the play, Armigas Spearman, a rookie middle linebacker, a free agent from Ole Miss. Number 59, drilled him. Here's Karan Coleman on the sideline.
Shaken up on that last play, and he's been a big part of this offense the last couple of weeks. He's the guy that picked up the blitz for Junior Seau a few weeks ago to give Griese a chance to throw the final touchdown to Ed McCaffrey.
Big down here now. 3rd down. Broncos need 3. Drop ball. Man, Rod Smith looking to run before he caught the ball. And the kicking team comes out looking to tie the game.
Ed McCaffrey goes out, picks up the guy, and you can see there, Rod Smith had the 1st down before the ball came through. Watch Griese, he knows they had it. That's their chance. Those are the opportunities the Denver Broncos have not capitalized on today.
47-yard field goal coming up for Jason Elam. Tom Ruin, the punter, is the holder. Snap and set down are good. Kick is on the way. No good again. Not a good day for Elam. And the underdog Bengals on their home field lead the game in the 4th quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper butler. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better. Samsung. Welcome to the Samsung Digital Experience, where everyone's invited. And by Acura, introducing MDX, taking the SUV to a place it's never been before.
We're back to Paul Brown Stadium. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. You see the AFC West standings. The Broncos in pursuit of the Raiders, who lead the division. 2 missed field goals today by Elam, both from 47 yards, and the Bengals get the ball in good field position. This time, the Bronco defense slams the run. Keith Traylor makes the hit on him.
The Broncos are going to do exactly what the Bengals did to them. They're going to make sure that they have to throw the ball to beat them.
Coming up on the Subway post-game show, join Jim, Mike, and Jerry for all the scores and highlights and the latest NFL news. That's all coming up on the Subway post-game show. Long way to go here, though. 12.5 minutes. Bengals with a 3-point lead. Mitchell takes a look. Lets a lofty ball go. It's lobbed underneath, looking at Warrick. How many might have hit his arm as he's throwing it, I think, Steve?
Yeah, he got hit as he released the ball. That's 0 for 5 for Scott Mitchell as he came off the bench in relief of Akili Smith. You watch as he drops back into the pocket collapses on him. He's a left-handed quarterback, so the pressure might come comes right into his face, and it just, as he lets it go, you see there, Monte Rieger hits his arm.
Rieger was the guy to get in there. You talk about bad. Mitchell's quarterback rating is abysmal as he's sacked by middle linebacker Al Wilson, the 2nd sack of the day for the Bronco defense. Scott Mitchell started this day with 46% completions, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 15.5.
Well, there's just not enough guys to pick this blitz up. And Al Wilson looks, oh, he's all over. Scott Mitchell's got no chance. He is just not mobile enough to get away from that kind of pressure.
But when the Broncos have gotten the ball of late, they've been unable to get it down and in. Got close, and then a tip ball interception, and now here's the punt, a booming punt hit downfield. Delta O'Neal backpedaling all the way to his 15-yard line. Turns the corner and is stopped. Biggest punt of the year for the Bengals. A 57-yard punt and a 2-yard return. Giving indication he might be institutionalized after the game.
Doesn't he know that stripes make you look fat?
Yeah. Well, the Loyalists still around. They're not as many as there used to be, but they're allowed today in Cincinnati. Broncos down by 3 after that booming punt. They start from their 16-yard line. Griese takes a look, throws the ball. Caught, but very little gain. The blitzing pass rush has been unrelenting.
This is what happened in the 3rd quarter. The 3 big plays you see here is Mike Anderson. The ball coughs up. Cincinnati recovers. Moments later, the great run by Brandon Bennett. Physical run getting into the end zone. And then the third play was the tip ball interception by the Bengals. And if you notice, all three of the biggest plays in that quarter went in favor of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Now the Broncos needing a big play. Griese with a timing throw hits McCaffrey over the middle, and he's out to the 33-yard line. A first down. On second down and 7, he gained 14.
One of the things that's starting to catch up with the Bengal defense is the fact that Brian Griese has not been sacked yet today. He's been sacked 13 times on the year, not once today.
But he has been pressured. Takeo Spikes, particularly coming on the blitzes. Number 51. He is a man possessed out there.
He has not gone untouched, but unsacked.
Now there was one roughing the passer call against the Bengals, and now a handoff. Mike Anderson runs, and he doesn't get much. On first down, get live updates for each NFL game as it happens. Just click on live scores at cbs.sportsline.com.
It's obvious Brian Griese has been the guy that has really had to step up and try and move this offense. The Bengals have done an outstanding job of jumping all over the run game of the Broncos after early success that they had. Now Brian Griese has had to keep his team in contention by throwing the football.
On second and 9, Griese takes a look, throws and gets an open guy, but the gain is minimal. Ball on the field. Is it a live ball? If it is, it looks like Cincinnati has it.
They're motioning for Cincinnati. There was no whistle.
Incomplete pass.
They're talking it over, and you can tell all the players want to get their 2 cents, and now they're giving Cincinnati the football. There's a discussion. They didn't quite know whether it was an incomplete pass or not.
The third Denver turnover of the day. Very close to an incomplete pass. We'll see.
Watch as Griese goes. Look, he's looking to his right. It's not there. Goes back to his left, right through his progression, just like he should. Last guy there is Mike Anderson. Oh, he was down. He's down before that. They're going to review this, and they're going to give that back to the Denver Broncos. We've already had one review early on that went in favor
of the Bengals.
And now they're going to review that, and the Bengals want to quick snap this. But it's not going to happen. Mike Anderson's knee was down before that ball popped out of there. This is going to go back to the Denver Broncos without question if Shanahan does challenge.
There's no question he'll challenge. I mean, the game is down the line.
He hasn't seen the replay, though. He may be wondering.
Guys upstairs who have are telling
there he is. He's challenging. This should take one look at the replay, and it should come back and... Now watch here as we talked about his progression. There's Mike Anderson at the bottom of your screen. Watch his right knee down, then the ball's out.
No question. Good spot, Steve. And it is definitely a call that will be reversed, and the ball will go back to the Denver Broncos, who are down by 3 with 9:45 left to play in the game. 17-14, the Bengals in the lead.
And you got to know, you go back to the parts of this football game that have been important. Jason Elam has missed 2 field goals. Wide right both times, and that is the difference right now. I mean, and Jason Elam has been a guy. Now watch this. We're going to see another angle. This is the referee kind of steps in our way here, but yeah, that's.
Well, that one angle showed his knee down before the ball came out.
Yeah, you can't get around. They're going to show that angle that we saw in the very beginning, and that's going to be all she wrote. But the referees, they had a little conference and decided they were going to give the ball to the Bengals, but it's not going to stand.
Jeff Triplett, the referee, he's the man making the review and the pronouncement. The Bengals, who've been shut out 3 times in 6 games this year, and the bad news for the Bengals is they have to play the 3 teams that shut them out again: Baltimore, Jacksonville, and Tennessee.
You wonder what he was saying there in the headphones. What he's doing now is finding out where the ball should be spotted, what down and distance is, so they can go back and give the ball to the Broncos normal.
After reviewing the play, the Denver player right knee was on the ground prior to the ball.
Well, you started the knee being down, and
hey, it worked just. I mean, both times the replay has worked exactly right today. And you watch, here it is.
Knee down, ball.
And then the ball pops out.
Much later comes out. Somebody actually got a foot on it, it looked like.
Yeah. And now it'll be third down and about 5.
Mike Anderson's run the ball 17 times for 81 yards. Teron Coleman's run it 10 times for 34. Anderson only has 9 yards rushing in the second half. 72 in the first half rushing. Griese on third down and a long 5 makes the throw and the connection, and it's a first down for the Broncos. Desmond Clark, big tight end from Wake Forest, doing a good job protecting the ball, bowling his way ahead for the first down.
This is what a tight end is supposed to be able to do. He comes out, runs a quick stop, come back in. 6'3", 250 pounds. He's got to be able to lean forward and get that first down in a tough spot. 4 guys hanging on him, still gets it.
But the Broncos down by 3, a long way from the end zone, and their kicker, one of the best in the game's history, Jason Elam, has missed 2 today, but you have to point to that bad back you were mentioning. He's not at his best, Jason Elam, and now Griese is not sacked. He gets the ball away, and it's incomplete. Griese somehow saves a sack.
There's a late flag in the vicinity of the offensive line.
Signal is against the Denver Broncos. Looks like somebody was illegally downfield.
That's exactly right. You know, those athletic offensive linemen we were talking about are just a little too athletic these days, it looks like. It's the second time they've been called for that today. Mike Shanahan continues to be hamstrung by the penalties his team has taken, not only today, but through the entire season, as we spoke about earlier.
So the clock is stopped with 8 minutes and 49 seconds left to play in the game. And here's Jeff Triplett, the referee.
Illegally downfield on the forward pass. 64 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Lenny Friedman, the left guard, got downfield. He's going to be the successor now to Mark Schlereth, who's expected to retire after this season. Monday on CBS begins with an all-new King of Queens starring Kevin James and Jerry Stiller, followed by the new comedy hit Yes Dear. Then don't miss Monday night's #1 comedy Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by Becker starring Ted Danson, and Family Law with new cast member Tony Danza. It's all here Monday on CBS. First down and 15 for the Broncos. Throw and a catch by McCaffrey. And McCaffrey is out to about the 48-yard line, gained about 5 or 6 yards on the play. Taken down on the play by linebacker Takeo Spikes.
Ed McCaffrey comes out. They ran this play earlier for a nice little first down. Comes out, catches the ball, but they zoned it off, and the defensive back is there waiting on him. Rodney Heath takes one good shot, slows him up for Takeo Spikes to come out and clean it up. Ed McCaffrey's taken a few shots today, but he's still being productive, still on the field.
Tremendous day for McCaffrey. 9 catches, 127 yards, as you saw. Throw and a catch. This is Rod Smith, who's had limited production today. That's for Rod Smith as a gain of 6 yards. Smith's 4th catch for 48 yards.
Now, you spoke about this before the game, and you thought this is the most effective route they run, where they run people deep and then just have the guys run that little drag route shallow, get it in their hands and let them try and break a tackle and get up the field. But that time the Bengals gave him the catch, but still tackled him short of the first down, and another crucial third down conversion for the Broncos.
It is. They need about 4. Griese throws and makes the connection. Rod Smith coming off the left flank. A perfectly thrown ball, a 7-yard gain, and the Broncos advance the ball to the 40-yard line and drive on with a first down.
When Brian Griese is taking everything underneath, you see as Ed McCaffrey goes up the field, clears out the area for Rod Smith to run right underneath him in the vacated spot, and Griese puts the ball right on the money. And Rod Smith, those are tough catches. Even though they're short passes coming right into your body, you know the defensive back is going to try and get his hand around, be all over you. It just makes it difficult.
And those D-backs are really challenging at the corners, and now they rip one up the middle. This looks like that opening drive as Mike Anderson runs it right at the Bengals, this time for a gain of about 10 yards, close to the 30-yard line. It will be a first down. They're moving the chains.
You get the feeling with these two teams, the Cincinnati Bengals don't yet have the ability to deliver the knockout punch. They have been all over the Broncos for 2 quarters. But the Broncos are such a good organization. They battle every inch of the way.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the United States Army. Be all you can be. And by IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level.
.6:38 left to play. Just ridiculous statistics. There's Rodney Heath, who was shaken up on that last play. He made the tackle. It is first down for the Broncos. Denver's Brian Griese has 254 yards passing on 24 of 34. Cincinnati has a total pass offense of 14 yards. Up the middle goes Mike Anderson, not for much. But conversely, when you look at the run numbers, they are equally unbelievable, as the Bengals have ripped the #2 rush defense in the NFL for 275 yards rushing. Broncos building their running numbers now as the game wears on with 143 yards rushing, but the final numbers are all that matter, and Cincinnati holds the lead there.
And this is the offense today, and the turnovers are really the real question, because, and the real difference, because the Broncos turned the ball over twice, once down deep in Bengal territory when they only trailed by 3 points.
Big Tony Jones, the left tackle, was shaken up on the last play. Broncos are attending to him. He's walking off. Griese with very good passing numbers, 24 of 34 for 254 yards. The 1-yard touchdown pass that opened the scoring when he threw to his fullback Detron Smith on the opening drive.
And the one pick he threw wasn't his fault. It was a tipped ball off a shot where he threw the ball right into the breadbasket of the receiver, and it still ended up with an interception.
I think, Steve, the Broncos want to eschew the field goal and take it into the end zone, because Elam's had trouble today, missing 2 long ones. Well, up the middle. Incomplete. Good pass defense on Rod Smith by Artrell Hawkins, a guy who was benched at the start of the day because he's played so poorly this year. Must have rejuvenated him.
Yeah, he has been a disappointment this year. Was a high-round draft pick, had a sophomore slump last year. Now in his 3rd year, he's been benched. But he's all over Rod Smith on that one. That was an excellent defensive play.
And another 3rd and long comes up now for the Broncos. It's either make this or try another long field goal. Rod Smith wide to the left. McCaffrey's in the slot to the left, coming in motion. They need almost 10. Here comes the rush. Griese stripped of the ball. The Bengals have it. And Cincinnati inches closer to its first victory of the new millennium. Fierce play by the Bengals. You cannot believe any team can be blistered the way the ownership and players in this team have been blistered for their failures really over a decade.
We heard it right in the beginning. What a great play. Steve Foley coming off the side. That's what's happened to the Bengals, not for the Bengals in the past. This is a team that is on a roll today. Scott Mitchell, the backup quarterback, takes the field once again, but this is with 5.5 or 5 minutes and 43 seconds left. The Bengals have got to make some first downs and put the pressure back in the hands of the Broncos.
Now the Broncos defense will be trying to get it back. Cincinnati has turned the ball over once today. They give the ball to Corey Dillon, who's been quiet for a while. Dillon with 18 carries now for 172 yards rushing.
And that's the story, the 3-to-1 turnover ratio in favor of the Bengals. And right now the Bengals, what they can't afford to do is do what they have done at the end of the first half in the last couple of weeks. Give up a big play. They've got to stay aggressive. You can play safe, but play aggressive in your safe offense.
Well, they're going to look to run clock now. They don't want to. They have 14 yards pass off, and there it is. Corey Dillon, he's gone. The knockout punch, you're looking at it. Game, set, and match. The Bengals are going to win in 2000. 65 yards. And the Bengals as a team go over 300 yards rushing. 341 for the day rushing.
This has been the story all day. Corey Dillon snaps off another 60-yard run. It's unbelievable the number of long runs. He's had 19 carries for 235 yards. Are you kidding me?
And this is a team that came in, the Broncos, as the #2 rated run defense. So they go back to Denver and go back to square one, wondering where they're at. It looked like they were a rising team.
It really was, and we thought the Broncos were playing the type of team that would put them in the playoffs. But I'll tell you what, they dropped this game today to the Bengals. They are not going to get to the playoffs. There's 5 teams that have 5 wins in the AFC, and the wild card is not going to come out of the West. Corey Dillon having the kind of day that you dream about.
Well, Dillon came in with 323 yards rushing for the season, 3.5 a carry, 323 for the season in the previous 6 games. Today, Corey Dillon has run 19 times for a 12.3 per carry average.
Watch right here, the gap is just going to open up, and then it's going to be a foot race, and you called it, Don. The minute he snapped through the line of scrimmage, it was all over. They were not going to catch him. Right there, it's a foot race, and you can't catch Corey Dillon. He may be 235 pounds, but with the running start, nobody in the National Football League is going to catch him. If they're small enough and fast enough to catch him, they're not big enough to tackle him.
That's right. I think Peter Warrick got a pretty good screen block on that, too. So Dick LeBeau, the longtime NFLer, 41st NFL season, 14 years as a player, and the rest as a coach. Taking over as the head man after Bruce Coslett quit earlier this season after a loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Corey Dillon not having a game or a season for some guys. His numbers are a career. Deldo O'Neal runs it back. O'Neal spinning and getting out to the 32-yard line, and now Griese and the Broncos offense with one alternative: drop back and fire on every down.
The last win was December 12th last year against Cleveland. It's been a long time coming, and Dick LeBeau gets his first win today as head coach at any level.
Well, he told us yesterday that he's had the most spirited practices. He said the attitude, you can't believe how good it is. And he said you can't believe how well we're practicing. We just can't carry it over till Sunday.
Now, he said that for the last couple of weeks. They're practicing very well, but they have not been able to do it on game day. They do it. He couldn't be happier with the way they work.
Griese fires downfield. Nice grab by Smith, who's on the run, and he's down to the 41-yard line. One thing you know, these Broncos will fight you with a last second.
Yeah, when we say that game, you know, this game might be over. Well, it's 4.5 minutes left, and you got the Denver Broncos. But that spells a little more difficulty for the Broncos if Rod Smith can't get up.
Gain on that play of 36 yards to Rod Smith.
Watch, this injury is going to happen right at the end of the play as he comes in right through the throwing lane. So what a great catch. You want to know, they need him to stay healthy. You want to know how important he is for this offense. Just take a look at what happened last week. He catches 3 touchdown passes in the win against Cleveland. This one over the shoulder, keeps both feet in. This one, tough catch, pow, takes the hit right at the goal line, still makes the touchdown. And then this one, staying alive after Griese begins to scramble, adjusts to the football as it goes over his head. 3 touchdowns. They need this guy to stay healthy.
Looks like Rod's okay. The Broncos came into the game with only 4 healthy wide receivers: McCaffrey, Smith, Travis McGriff, and a rookie free agent named Scotty Montgomery.
Scott Montgomery this is his first game as a Denver Bronco. This is the hit. Now watch here, watch his lower legs. See if anything gets rolled up on you. See, I think that's it right there where they fall across the back of his right calf, but it may not be.
And now Travis McGriff, an undersized but very good receiver to the top of your screen. Second-year player out of the University of Florida. Griese takes a look, near side throw. He gets it tight end. Carswell breaks 1 tackle and is knocked down as he comes inside the 30-yard line First down for the Broncos with 4:05 to play.
And this is what Mike Shanahan can give you. His team can turn it up a notch. I mean, their backs are against the wall. They're down by 10 with 4 minutes to go. This is a team that can bring a lot of weapons to bear, especially when they're backed into a corner.
Broncos with the hurry-up offense the rest of the way. Griese takes a look, going to the end zone. He's got a guy, and it's caught. There's also a penalty marker down. Signal is touchdown. We'll see what the indicator is, who the foul was on. The Broncos are pointing at the Bengals.
And so is the official.
If it goes, it's a 28-yard touchdown, Steve.
And it will.
It will.
Illegal contact. 51 defense. Penalties decline. The score.
Wait, there's more.
There sure is. Just when it looked like the Bengals couldn't mess this up, they let Rob Smith go right in for the touchdown. Just a moment ago, he came off with an injury, much like Ed McCaffrey did earlier. Then they wobble back onto the field, only to go deep for a touchdown.
A 28-yard touchdown. Elam hits the point after. Very important. It brings the Broncos back to within 3. With 3:43 left to play. So Rod Smith really coming alive in the fourth quarter with some tremendous play. He has caught 7 now for 110 yards. The other starter, McCaffrey, has 9 catches for 127 yards. Griese was hit hard delivering that ball.
Watch as he drops back. This is the touchdown we just saw. Watch this. That's Von Booker back into the lineup. That's what they missed. Now, you get those shots every once in a while. Hopefully you can get them early on in the game, so later in the game when you're coming up into his face, he doesn't make such a perfect throw into the corner of the end zone. But Brian Griese on that drive and that hurry-up offense, man, that's tough to beat. 3 for 3, 68 yards and the touchdown. 2 years ago, the Denver Broncos came into Cincinnati, then what was then Synergy Field, undefeated, and had all kinds of problems with this same Cincinnati Bengal team. They did win that game, but only after struggling for the entire game and finally pulling it out. It looks to be, if they're going to win this one, it's going to be the same story.
This is the second straight game that McCaffrey and Rod Smith each have gone over 100 yards in receiving. Ready to kick it off. Spinning outfield, Tremaine Matt from the 12-yard line. And he's out to the 31-yard line. So now the Bengals looking to protect a 3-point lead as there's a scrum after the tackle. Tackle made by Byron Chamberlain.
Yeah, the Broncos were trying to say that they had pulled the ball loose and the officials would have none of it.
Well, I'll tell you, someone watching their first football game can call the offense. Corey Dillon left, Corey Dillon right, Corey Dillon up the middle. He owns the Bronco defense today, having rushed against them for 235 yards and 19 carries.
And you know the personnel that they have in the game, the Bengals. Cliff Gross, the fullbacks in, 3 tight ends. They're going to try and pound this out and run this last 3.5 minutes off the clock.
Dillon is the I-back. Corey Dillon. There he is. This time it's Corey Dillon left. And he's run out of bounds. Good play by the Broncos as they stop the clock with 3:28, getting him out of bounds. Monty Rieger and John Mobley combine on the stop.
There it is. Most rushing yards in the game since New England. They had 300 that day. They got 353 yards rushing today. That is phenomenal. You want to talk about a blip in the statistical landscape. That's a mushroom cloud.
We've seen some unbelievable runs. 2nd and 12. There he is. This time it's Corey Dillon left again. He stays in bounds. On a 2nd down and 12 play, he gets ahead for about 4 yards. 3rd and long.
Well, this is the point of the game. I think if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, as the Broncos take a timeout, you want to get some other people involved in the run game. Maybe Peter Warrick. And if Akili Smith was your quarterback, you could incorporate all the runs they have in the offense for him specifically to run the football. But right now, you've only got one guy to hand the football off to, and you've got to get other people involved.
And while we have a moment, a reminder that coming up on the Subway postgame show, Jim, Mike, and Jerry for all the scores and highlights and the latest NFL news. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame report.
Dick LeBeau, you've got a feel for what he's been through. You know, and there's been some talk about the transition that his players have had to go through, changing over from Bruce Coslet to Dick LeBeau. But I'll tell you what, the guy who's had to make the biggest adjustment is that guy right there. He's had to learn how to be a head coach on the fly. He told us yesterday, I'm amazed at the variety of tasks that I have to address as head coach. And he's right. I mean, there's just things you have to do as a head coach that your coordinators can't do, the administrative staff can't do. You got to make a lot of decisions that have nothing to do with what goes on between the sidelines.
Yeah, he said so many different things come across your desk, but we all know what his #1 task is as a head coach: win. And right now, his team has found a way to have the lead, and they have the ball. 3rd down. Running. Quarterback keeps. Scott Mitchell. 1st down, Bengals. For a guy that can't run, he looked pretty good.
He was running for his life. He knew he knew what was riding on that little bootleg, and he knew he had a guy chasing him. That's something he did not expect from Scott Mitchell. Watch here. And this is just a foot race. He knows right there. There's no question about it. You see there Ma'atanavasa chasing him. That's a huge 1st down conversion for the Bengals.
Dick LeBeau was a 3-time Pro Bowl player with the Detroit Lions during his long career with them. 14 years.
And you see there Scott Mitchell talking things over with his offensive coordinator, Ken Anderson. He's out of breath. I used to laugh at the quarterbacks because they don't run so much, you know, and then you get a guy there as a drop back passer and he has to scramble once for 15 yards. They're too winded to call the next play.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They don't get it. They don't get any conditioning. They don't know what it is to run the football. They get back in the thing, and the adrenaline takes over. They get back. They don't even have enough breath to call the play.
I'll tell you, one guy that had his breath after he'd ripped you for a run was Elway.
Yeah, you got a point there.
How about Kelly?
Are you kidding me? We'd have to take back-to-back timeouts to get him recovered.
Here is a 1st down play. Corey Dillon gets the ball. Corey Dillon up the middle. Nothing there, but that's fine with the Bengals as they keep the clock ticking. Denver down to a final timeout, and they just took it. So the Broncos are out of timeouts with 2:50 left to play, and Cincinnati leading by 3.
Well, here's what it comes down to. If the Bengals can get a 1st down with 2 minutes or less remaining, they win the football game. That's all it's going to take, because then they can kneel down with Denver not having any timeouts left.
Here's Corey Dillon's day. 21 carries, rushing the ball, 237 yards, including runs of 26, 31, 21, 37, 29, 15, and then that 65-yard touchdown run.
I need those numbers, Don. I think I'm going to play the lottery.
Dillon's career high is 246 yards in a single game against the Tennessee Titans, 97. Here's Peter Warrick. 1st down, and he stays in bounds. 15-yard gain. No pass offense today for the Cincinnati Bengals, and yet they're beating the Denver Broncos. None. 14 yards.
This is the play that Warrick ran for the touchdown earlier. He comes out, it's just a full swing. Watch Corey Dillon whacks Al Wilson. And Warrick shows great patience in running behind his blockers, waiting for the gap to come through, and then just squeezes through it for the 1st down. That was the exact same play. He doubled back. As you see there, the rushes get him involved in the run game.
He's having a nice day. 3 carries, 30 yards a carry. Up the middle, Brandon Bennett, who ripped the Broncos for a touchdown run up the middle earlier. This time doesn't get a lot. He's down to the 41-yard line. That'll take it down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left to play, and they think they might have a winning Sunday in Cincinnati. With Steve Tasker, this is Don Crickey back at Paul Brown Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio, where the Cincinnati Bengals today compiled a franchise record low pass offense of 14 yards But they're in command of the game because of their unbelievable running. Here's Corey Dillon again. And Dillon takes it inside the 20, runs over another guy. He's going in again. This isn't one of the great days of Corey Dillon's life. This is one of the great rushing efforts in the history of the National Football League.
Yeah, it just became a historic day in the National Football League. We're going to compile the numbers after we get our calculator out to find out how many yards he goes over with that. But I'm telling you what, there isn't 3 guys in the National Football League who have had a day better than Corey Dillon has had today.
Well, how many guys can bounce off him? And he runs away from everybody.
Well, he does the smart thing. He tried to stay in bounds, gave the fake like he was going to cut back, and then just get to the end zone.
278 yards rushing for Corey Dillon on just 22 carries. The extra point is up and good. And the Bengals lead it 31-21 with 1:49 left to play.
Watch here, he goes up in line. This is what's been happening all day. He goes up into the traffic, shrugs off that first blocker, and his speed is what I think a lot of defenders find surprising. They get out there, they see this big guy, and they think somebody's going to run him down, and nobody closes on him. 278 yards.
It had to happen, right?
It had to happen. I'll tell you what.
One
team that
thing,
throws for 14 yards on the afternoon and wins by 10.
Well, they restructured their offensive and defensive lines today. And, you know, this team, you wonder what this will lead to. Will they slump back to where they were, or will they continue to take it to another level? They certainly, with this run offense, are able to compete with anybody in the NFL.
This is the all-time NFL record is Walter Payton.
Corey Dillon, I mean, overwhelmed by emotion. He's not being treated particularly well. People pounding on him, and now they want to see if he's all right.
He just made the National Football League all-time record for a one-day performance. He just passed Walter Payton, who had 275 yards in 1977 against Miami. Corey Dillon has had the kind of day your dreams are made of.
Nightmares are made of if you're a Bronco or a Bronco fan. Here is a return now. Deldo O'Neal takes it out to the 37-yard line. And the Broncos offense comes out once again, but they have a 10-point deficit to make up with just a minute and 43 seconds left to play. And if they do get in the end zone, the ball, then they have to kick off to the Bengals. And that means Corey Dillon gets to carry it again. It probably means another touchdown.
That's the NFL record, and I'm telling you what, folks, that is a huge effort. 1977, the late, great Walter Payton.
Sweetness. Ryan Griese makes the throw. McCaffrey makes yet another catch. And McCaffrey making the grab. McCaffrey so far today, now that's a 9-yard gain. He's caught 10 passes for 138 yards. Griese throws again, coming underneath to his tight end, Wayne Carswell. He stays in bounds and is inside the 40. That'll keep the clock ticking. A 16-yard gain on the play. Darrell Williams on the tackle.
The umpire got caught up with the defender that was guarding him. And the umpire actually got knocked over as well as the defender. That's why the play was over. That's why the play was open.
Griese down the middle, incomplete. Stops the clock with 1:02 left to play.
Nothing feels as good as that. And it says something about the Bengals as well, to do it against a quality franchise like the Bengals. I mean, like the Denver Broncos, to bounce back from an 0-6 start against a team that a lot of people thought was on a roll, including us.
Yeah, they looked, last 2 weeks, their defense was just dominating, giving up just 17 total points over the last 2 games. Today, the Bengals, who scored only 37 points all season, scored 31 today. Here's another throw and a catch down to the 20-yard line. 18-yard gain.
They have no timeouts to use. They're just going to have to hurry up. You might see a spike ball here, or they might have already got a plan.
get it in and try the onside kick if they can take it into the end zone. Brian Griese spikes the ball. Carolina's beaten San Francisco 34-16. New Orleans winning again. That's something, huh?
4-3. Former teammate of mine, Jim Haslett, getting New Orleans headed in the right direction.
The #1 defense in the NFL. I think that's the first time in like 11 years they've won in Atlanta.
Mike Shanahan still coaching, knows his team's got a shot. If they score here with an onside kick, anything can happen. They've got the best kicker in the league. All is not lost yet, but it is teetering on the brink.
This will be Griese's 43rd throw of the day. Down the middle, almost picked off, incomplete at the 2-yard line.
That was almost offensive pass interference there.
He was going to tight end Desmond Clark. There's Corey Dillon, the man of the hour, in truth, the man of the new millennium with his unbelievable rushing day, a new National Football League record. Corey Dillon with 278 yards rushing today. Cincinnati for the day, is that right?
408 yards rushing?
Against the #2 rush defense in the league.
They're going to drop. They're not going to be #2 tomorrow.
Go to the end zone, McCaffrey, and I thought the ball was tipped. Very rarely does anything go through his hands.
It doesn't have to be tipped much before a receiver can't catch it. Shanahan thought he had one here. Griese did too. Look at it. You've seen him do that a couple of times today. That's the story of the game for Griese with his hands on his helmet. Can't believe he missed it.
Dick LeBeau with the longest 31 seconds of his life still on the clock. Griese stands in again. Here's the rush. He's sacked. Lights out. Hostelaga to the losing streak. It's over.
For the first time this season, the Cincinnati Bengals get to kneel down at the end of the football game for the win. And there it is. It's a historic day. An absolute moment in history. Corey Dillon, 278 yards to surpass Walter Payton.
The co-executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Terry Ewert. Today's game was produced by Jim Rickoff and directed by Kathy Barretto, as now the Bengals come to the line for the final downing of the ball, and that will do it. Cincinnati gets his first win of the 2000 season. Brian Griese with enormous passing numbers, and Mike Shanahan, who told us yesterday, if our defense continues to play the way it did the last 2 games, we could be headed to something special. But today his defense was blown up by the rushing game of the underdog Bengals.
And I think now you're going to see what the Denver Broncos, as well as the people in Denver, are going to see. Teams are going to stack it up and run right at them.
So it's back to Denver for the Broncos, who fall to 4-4 on the year. And now for Steve Tasker, this is Don Criqui. We go to New York and to Jim Nance. Jim?
All right, thank you, Don. What a performance.